Hello friends, good morning everyone. And yesterday few doubts by the time I have finished the class. Senior advocate is individual or firm? Senior advocate is always individual. A firm cannot become senior advocate. Then, sir, in security lending as per SEBI, the commission chargeable by SEBI is taxable or not? So, there is no taxability on the commission charged by SEBI because that commission is part and parcel of the charges, lending charges. So, on the entire lending charges, liability to pay GST is on the borrower of the securities. If inward supplies from unregistered person other than real estate, section 9 subsection 4 is not applicable. Then, yesterday I gave one assignment and that was uploaded in the Google Drive, and this is the answers for that particular assignment. Say this, Mr. Atul is a agent of life insurance company. The insurance company pays commission excluding tax 6 lakhs to him. So, insurance agent services to insurance company is covered under RCM. So, the said activity is not exempted, the said activity is taxable because it is not given in the question that it is an urban area or rural area. So, that is the reason why it will be taxable. And who is liable to pay GST? Insurance company is liable to pay GST. They have not given as rural area. If it is given as rural area, it would have been exempted, but it is not given. Then temporary, so rural area information not given. Rural area info not given. Okay, that's why we will take as urban area. Temporary transfer of copyright pertaining to music composed by Mr. A.R. Rahman, registered person, to Arise Private Limited, a registered production company. So, in case of temporary transfer of copyright pertaining to music, it is covered under RCM. We don't have any exemption. It is taxable and it is covered under RCM, where Arise Private Limited will pay GST. Services provided by Mr. Sham, a recovery agent, to HDFC Bank against a commission of 40,000. For recovery agent, we don't have any exemption, so it will be taxable, and the liability to pay GST is on the bank. Then, temporary transfer of copyright on 510 pertaining to book authored by Mr. THARUN'S, registered person, to Taxman Publishers Private Limited. Mr. THARUN'S wanted to avail ITC on inward supplies. So, when he wanted to avail ITC on inward supplies, definitely he should have opted for option 1, because if a person is making supply which is covered under RCM, they cannot take ITC on their inward supplies. So, carefully listen. So, an analysis about this I am just giving it to you. That is, there is one person, so there is an author, okay. So, author will be making outward supply. Author will be making outward supply to publisher. So, what is that outward supply? Transfer of copyright, correct? Transfer of copyright. Transfer of copyright. Transfer of copyright, for which publisher will pay royalty. Publisher will pay royalty. Now, if author pay GST to government, if author pay GST to government under FCM, so GST payable, if author pays GST under FCM, then author can avail, because author will have some inward supplies, na? Author will have some inward supplies. So, what are the inward supplies of the author? Maybe he is subscribing for some softwares for the purpose of preparing the book. He needs some softwares, because without softwares book cannot be prepared. Even Microsoft Word is one software. Then to make charts and a lot of softwares are there. So, therefore, he subscribes for the software and he makes payment, okay. So, that is, what is that? Inward supplies. Inward supplies, and for that inward supplies, so the author will pay, so some GST paid on inward supplies, okay. So, price plus GST. Now, can this GST be taken as ITC? Yes, the author can take it as ITC. the author can take it as ITC because GST is payable by the author under forward charge mechanism. Suppose if for the same transaction, if author do not want to pay like GST under FCM, if author do not want to pay GST under FCM, let's see what will happen. So here who is paying GST under FCM? Author will pay GST under FCM, correct? So now suppose if author is not paying GST, so let's see that. So author, publisher. Now there is a transfer of copyright, and who will be paying GST on the royalty? Publisher will be paying GST on the royalty to government. So that is under RCM. So to government, liability to pay GST is on the recipient. So GST payable by publisher, so which will be known as RCM. And now author will have some inward supplies. Author will have some inward supplies on which the author will pay price plus GST. Can this GST be taken as ITC? So this GST cannot be taken as ITC. ITC cannot be availed. Why? Because there is a provision which says that whenever our outward supply is covered under RCM, we cannot take ITC on inward supply, because outward supply covered under RCM is treated as exempted supply for the purpose of ITC. So outward supplies are treated as exempted, outward supply which is under RCM is treated as exempted supply for the purpose of availment of ITC. This is not exempted supply for payment of GST. This is actually not exempted supply for payment of GST, but this is exempted supply for availment of ITC. Are you understanding? So there are two things. Exempted supply for payment of GST. No, this is not exempted supply for payment of GST, because GST is payable on this transaction. But it will be treated as exempted supply for availment of ITC. Means at the time when you wanted to take input tax credit on inward supply, you cannot take, because the outward supply is covered under RCM. This is the biggest restriction under RCM. So therefore, whenever the author is requiring to take ITC, definitely he should only pay GST. If he makes publisher to pay GST, then he cannot avail ITC. So this is the background of that. Now in that case, now Mr. Tarun Raj wanted to avail ITC on inward supply, so it is taxable only, and here who will pay GST? Recipient should not pay GST. Supplier Tarun Raj, option to pay GST under FCM is selected. Then services provided by Mr. Mohan, a business facilitator to Bank of Baroda for its rural branch for 15,000, exempted. Business facilitator to bank in rural area, exempted. So liability to pay GST shall not arise. Messr Surya Travels, registered person, not a body corporate, because they did not give anything limited, private limited, etc. So it's not a body corporate. Has given on hire electric car to MRF limited. So recipient is body corporate. Registered person for 20 days, that is here electric car is not exempted. Electric car given on hire to only local authority is exempted. Here it is not exempted, taxable. But supplier is other than body corporate, recipient is body corporate, but the rate that they have charged in invoice is 12%. So the applicable rate is not 5%. So therefore it will be covered under FCM. Suppose in this question number 6, if the applicable rate is 5%, then it will be coming under RCM, because that is what we have discussed in renting of motor vehicles. Then Messrs Vijay Travels, registered person has given on hire a tempo traveler to Swami Associates, a registered attorney firm. Messrs Vijaya Travels raises invoice on Swami Associates for 5%. Now again, supplier other than body corporate, recipient is also other than body corporate, therefore it will not come under RCM. So it is taxable and it is FCM only. Then Zoom Cars Private Limited, a registered person, has given a car on hire to XYZ Limited, a registered person. Zoom Cars Private Limited has opted to pay GST at the rate of 5%. Supplier is body corporate, so therefore it will never come under RCM, it is FCM only. Innovate Private Limited paid 50 lakhs as sponsorship money to an event organized by Indian Hockey Federation. Indian Hockey Federation is a recognized sports body, and if they collect any amount of sponsorship money, it is exempted. So therefore liability to pay GST shall not arise. Messrs. Ganesh Travels, a registered person, has given a tempo traveler on hire to ABC Limited, a registered person. Messrs. Ganesh Travels has opted to pay GST at the rate of 5%. Supplier other than body corporate, recipient body corporate, and the rate opted is 5%. And it is taxable, we don't have any exemption, and it is covered under RCM. Then Messrs. Suraj Travels, a registered person, given a bus on hire to PQR Limited, supplier other than body corporate, recipient body corporate, but the rate is 12%, so it will not come under RCM, it will come under FCM. Then 12, ABC Security Agency. So someone asked me, security services, give me an example. Please see this, point number 12. Yesterday if you have solved the questions, you would have known the example. Messrs. ABC Security Agency. So here ABC Security Agency is a registered partnership firm. So therefore supplier is other than body corporate. Has provided security services to Messrs. Future Limited. So recipient is body corporate. So supplier is other than body corporate, but recipient body corporate or not is irrelevant, but what we need to know is recipient is registered or not. So Messrs. Future Limited is not registered under GST as their aggregate turnover has not exceeded the threshold limit. Taxable only, but RCM will not come. Why RCM will not come? Because the recipient is not registered. So FCM, who will pay? That security agency only will pay tax under FCM. Then Messrs. High Alert Security Agency, a sole proprietorship firm, again other than body corporate. Sole proprietorship firm other than body corporate, but we need to check whether recipient is registered. Services to Messrs. Best Wishes registered, who is opting for composition scheme. Registered but opting for composition scheme, then also RCM will not come, it is FCM only, taxable only, we don't have any exemption in this regard. So who will be paying GST? That High Alert Security Agency will be paying. Then next, X is a senior advocate in Bombay High Court. Ford Limited has approached X senior advocate to provide legal assistance in relation to litigation. Now, supplier is a senior advocate and recipient is company Ford Limited. So here we assume that the Ford Limited's turnover during previous year exceeds the threshold limit. Ford Limited, see Ford Limited is a manufacturer of cars. Why won't their turnover exceed the threshold limit? Easily it will exceed. Therefore, it is taxable and liability to pay GST is on Ford Limited under RCM. Then number 15, Mr. Manoj is an advocate who provided services to B Limited, whose turnover during the previous year is 800 lakhs, taxable, and it will be RCM, B Limited will pay. Then next, number 16, XYZ Limited avails service of Vimal Goods Transport Agency for transportation of goods by road from factory located in New Delhi to its Jaipur depot and paid freight of 1 lakh. So any exemption we have? No exemption, and it will be taxable. Then who will be liable to pay GST? There are two options. Either GTA can pay GST or the recipient can pay GST. So two options are there. Who will be choosing that option? That Goods Transport Agency will be choosing the option. Ranka Jewelers Limited paid 50 lakhs for sponsorship of Miss India Beauty pageant for sponsorship services. Miss India Beauty contest sponsorship and all is not exempted, it will be taxable. And as the person who pays sponsorship money is body corporate, they are liable to pay GST under RCM. Then services provided by Mr. Joseph in the capacity of a managing director. Managing director is an employee of the company. So employee to employer in the course of employment is excluded from supply. So it is not a supply. Then Mr. Batra is an arbitrator and he provides service to Messrs. Save Nature Government Agency, whose turnover during the previous year is 400 lakhs. Services provided to government, central government, state government, local authority, governmental authority, government agency is also covered. So it is exempted. Exempted. You can refer to the advocate services, you will be finding even to a government agency it is exempted. Then infrastructural support services provided by government to business entity. Okay, so it is government to business entity. Infrastructural support services nowhere in the specific exemptions whose turnover during the previous year exceeds the threshold limit. Therefore, it is taxable and liability to pay GST is on the business entity under RCM. So general exemption also not applicable, and value of supply not given. So that's why we did not apply that value of supply less than or equals to 5,000 point. Renting of immobile property services provided by government to business entity unregistered during the previous year. So actually previous year information is irrelevant. So current year are they unregistered or not we need to know. So I am taking the assumption that they are unregistered during the current year also. So now government is providing renting of immobile property services to business entity, and first general exemption not applicable. So second general exemption value not given. So therefore it will be taxable as the recipient is not registered, because previous year their aggregate turnover does not exceed, but current year we don't know. So assuming that they are unregistered current year, who will pay GST? Government only will pay GST under FCM. Then Department of Police Tamil Nadu provided security services to Messrs. Taj Group of Hotels whose turnover during the previous year exceeds the threshold limit and charges is 20,000. See, government providing security services don't classify as security agency services. That is different, this is different. So government providing, police department providing services to a business entity whose turnover during the previous year exceed the threshold limit, no doubt it will be taxable, and liability to pay GST is on Taj Group of Hotels. Then services provided by arbitral tribunal to any business entity whose turnover during the previous year exceeds threshold limit. Arbitral tribunal or arbitrator both are same. So turnover during the previous year of the business entity exceeds threshold limit, therefore it will be taxable, and liability to pay GST is on business entity. Mr. Arvind, a senior advocate, provided to a firm of advocates who in turn provided services to central government. Now, a senior advocate providing service to firm of advocates, we need to see in turn to whom it is provided, to government. Now we need to take government as the recipient. Government as the recipient. So senior advocate services to government is exempted. Then Yes Bank located in Nagpur appointed Mr. Mahesh as recovery agent for collecting outstanding balance amount of loan from one of its customer. Mr. Mahesh provided service to Yes Bank for which it charged a fee. Now in this case, recovery agent services to a bank is taxable and the liability to pay GST is on the bank under RCM. Then Chetan Bhagat, unregistered under GST, a renowned writer and author of 2 states, transferred the copyright of his book published in 2 states to Balaji Telefilm Production Limited for a consideration. Nowhere it is given that they are opting for FCM because they are unregistered. So author is unregistered means definitely FCM not possible. So RCM only. So who will pay GST? That Balaji Telefilm Productions Limited will pay GST. We don't have any exemption here. Then Mr. Santosh received 40 lakhs as consideration for transfer of development right related to a promoter. So he transferred development rights for which he got 40 lakhs. On that 40 lakhs it is taxable. Who will pay GST? That promoter will pay GST, but in this 40 lakhs we have an exemption if we use it for residential apartments, correct, residential flats, but that information is not given here. So it is taxable and promoter will pay GST under FCM. Mr. Ramana, a clearing and forwarding agent, rendered services to Messrs. Lift Limited. So now a clearing and forwarding agent, is it there in the list of 5 agents? No, it is taxable and the liability to pay GST is on Mr. Ramana only, because in that 9 subsection 3 agent services we don't have a clearing and forwarding agent. APJ Security Services Private Limited, unregistered. So supplier is Body Corporate. Provided security services to Brainery Limited. See, both are Body Corporate. So definitely it will come under FCM. Taxable only when they are registered. See, it's a taxable service. Only when they are registered, GST is payable. Otherwise, GST is not payable. Then, Messrs. ABC Road Lines, a GTA, provided services to partnership firm for transportation of organic manure. Organic manure is specified goods and it is exempted. So, liability to pay GST shall not arise. 30 questions I gave, 30 questions, okay. So if you have really tried it, you would have understood 9 subsection 3, even otherwise not an issue. So you try it today and you go through this. I have given lot of questions while discussion itself, and even afterwards I have given lot of questions for you to practice, okay. So therefore this is sufficient here. Beyond this nothing is required. So in exam also you will be getting questions like this only. So whether it is exempted or taxable, and if it is taxable, who is liable to pay GST? So questions will be like this only. So this is really sufficient, okay. Now 9 subsection 4 also 3 illustrations discussed I shared, and these answers also I will be sharing today, okay. Yesterday I shared only the questions, and today I will be sharing the answers with answers. That Google Drive link you please keep, and every notes, all additional notes will be uploaded in that Google Drive only, and so that you can prepare at any point of time. Even you can, if you want to take print also, you can take print of it, okay. Now let's move on to the next area, that is 9 subsection 5. Before that, one question here. Sale of immobile property before CC or FO, which is supply of service, both, because CC or FO, whichever is earlier we should take, not CC, FO. So CC or FO, whichever is earlier should be taken. Completion certificate or first occupation, whichever is earlier should be taken. And before that, if there is any sale of immobile property, it will be treated as service. And what service it is? Works contract service. It is not construction service, it is works contract service, because I gave in my book as construction service, so but actually it is works contract service, because there involves both transfer of property in goods and supply of services. So we need to treat it as works contract service, okay. Then next, look into this section 9 subsection 5. There are 3 notified services. I asked you to remember these 3 notified services with a keyword HAT, 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 hat. All these 3 services are supplied through e-commerce operator. Means when we take 9 subsection 5 or in our discussion, whenever I say supply through e-commerce operator, there are 3 parties. Who are those 3 parties? Supplier, e-commerce operator and recipient. So any supply through e-commerce operator, there will be 3 parties. Please listen. Any supplies through e-commerce operator, there will be 3 parties: supplier, e-commerce operator and the recipient, okay. So supplier will be there. So when it will be called as supplies through ECO, when it will be called as supplies through e-commerce operator, so there will be 3 parties. Who are those 3 parties? Supplier will be there, e-commerce operator will be there, and recipient will be there. So there should be 3 parties. Then only it will be treated as supplies through e-commerce operator. Now, so whenever supplies are through e-commerce operator, there are 3 notified services. So supplies through e-commerce operator is divided into 3. Supply of goods through e-commerce operator, supply of notified services through e-commerce operator, supply of other than notified services through e-commerce operator. Is it clear or not? So supplies through e-commerce operator means always there will be 3 parties. So who are those 3 parties? Supplier, e-commerce operator and recipient, okay. So now what we are trying to understand is that supplies through e-commerce operator is divided into 3. That is supply of goods through e-commerce operator, supply of goods through e-commerce operator. Example for that, so example for that is Flipkart. So sale of goods through Flipkart, sale of goods through Flipkart. So there will be a seller, there will be trader, say Messrs ABC Retail, ABC Retail. So this is supplier Flipkart, and the recipient is one buyer. Recipient is one buyer who places the order, okay. Supply of goods through e-commerce operator, this is one. Then next we have supply of notified services. So supplier, again e-commerce operator and recipient. And what is being supplied is notified services. So there are 3 notified services. Those 3 notified services are rendered through e-commerce operator. notified services under section 9 subsection 5. Same way here, like notified services are rendered under section 9 subsection 5. Then, so example for this, there are many notified services, 3 notified services: housekeeping service, accommodation service and transportation service. I'll give you an example of Ola, transportation of passenger service. So example, Ola Cabs. Ola Cabs is e-commerce operator, supplier is driver, and recipient is passenger. Okay, you understood here? So supplier is driver, recipient is passenger, and the intermediary is e-commerce operator. Then supply of other than notified services through e-commerce operator: supplier, ECO and recipient. So supplier is, see, these other than notified services, there are only 3 notified services: housekeeping service, accommodation service and transportation service. In case of other than notified service, other services through e-commerce operator. So I will give you example of Swiggy. Okay, so Swiggy is other service, not covered under housekeeping, accommodation or transportation. So example, Swiggy. So in case of Swiggy, who is the supplier? Restaurant is the supplier, and the recipient is customer who is placing order for purchase of food. So these are the 3 categories, but on all these 3 cases, supplies are through e-commerce operator, and ECO should be different from supplier. That's a very important condition. Supplier and ECO should be different. What if supplier and ECO are same? Supplier and ECO should be different. What if supplier and ECO are same? Then it will not be called as supplies through e-commerce operator. It will be direct supplies. Then the supplier only will pay GST. That will never be called as supplies through e-commerce operator. Example, Max showroom, if you take, they have their own app through which they will be selling goods, selling garments. So it is not called as supplies through e-commerce operator. Domino's Pizza, if you take, they have their own app through which they will deliver food. So that is again not supplies through e-commerce operator, direct supplies. So when it will be called as supplies through e-commerce operator, there should be a third party. So then only it will be called as supplies through e-commerce operator. Supplier and e-commerce operator should be different. Now, so in this case, who will pay GST? In the first case, liability to pay GST is on supplier. Liability to pay GST is on supplier here. Okay, in the first case, liability to pay GST. To whom here? To whom? Government. Liability to pay GST to government is on supplier. Here, liability to pay GST is on e-commerce operator in case of notified services. Whereas in case of other services, again liability to pay GST is on supplier. Liability to pay GST is on supplier. Is it clear or not? So this is about supplies through e-commerce operator. Now we need to understand. So first, supplies through e-commerce operator is divided into 3. Supply of goods through e-commerce operator, supply of notified services through e-commerce operator, supply of other than notified services through e-commerce operator. And when it will be called as supplies through e-commerce operator, supplier and e-commerce operator should be different. Now, in the first case and last case, liability to pay GST is on supplier, and in the middle case, liability to pay GST is on e-commerce operator. Now, what are those notified services? There are 3 notified services. Housekeeping services. Example of housekeeping services is Urban Club. In Urban Club, who is the supplier? So, some plumber or carpenter or technician is the supplier. And who is the e-commerce operator? Urban clap is e-commerce operator, and who is the recipient? So household or any person is the recipient. In that case, who will be paying GST? Urban clap will be paying GST. Urban clap, quicker, helper, like that lot of people are there into that business. Then accommodation services. Example for accommodation service is Go I Bibo, Make My Trip. So who is the supplier? Hotel is the supplier, and Go I Bibo, Make My Trip is the e-commerce operator, and the recipient is the guest who stays in that hotel. In that case, who will pay GST? That Go I Bibo, Make My Trip only will pay GST. Accommodation services. Then number 3, transportation of passenger service. Not all transportation, not transportation of goods and all, transportation of passenger service by radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab or motorcycle. So by cabs or cycles, two-wheelers, rapido. So in that case, it will be coming under supply of notified service through e-commerce operator. Who will pay? For example, Ola, Uber, Rapido, etc. Those Ola, Uber, Rapido will be paying GST. Is it clear or not? So that is about 3 notified service. And a very important point is that in case of housekeeping service and accommodation service, only when the supplier is unregistered, it will be coming under 9 subsection 5 notified service. In case of transportation of passengers, let the supplier be registered or unregistered, it will always be notified service under 9 subsection 5. So these are the 3 notified services that we have. You please have a look into it. Number 1. Services provided by way of transportation of radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, motorcycle. Supplier may or may not be registered. Number 2. Services providing by way of accommodation in hotel, guest, inn, club site, etc. for lodging purposes. Example, Go I Bibo, Make My Trip. Supplier should not be registered. Then number 3. Services by way of housekeeping such as plumbing, carpentry, etc. and supplier should not be registered. So in the second case and third case, supplier should not be registered. This is the third point. Supplier should not be registered. So this only I just converted into HAT. Housekeeping services, accommodation services, and transportation of passenger service. So these are the 3 services covered under 9 subsection 5. Liability to pay GST is on e-commerce operator. Now see this. Now, is the person e-commerce operator? No, leave it. Means if the supplies are not made through e-commerce operator, it will not come. So e-commerce operator should be different. Then, is supply made through ECO? No, leave it. Yes. Is supply of service notified? No, it is not notified. Then who will pay GST? E-commerce operator will not pay GST. Then who will pay GST? GST is payable by the supplier. Already we discussed that. If it is a notified service, who will pay GST? E-commerce operator will pay. All the provisions of this act shall apply to e-commerce operator as if he is the supplier and liable for paying tax. Now, when e-commerce operator is liable to pay tax, we need to check whether they are located in India or not. If they have a physical presence in India, they will register and they will pay GST. If they have a physical presence in India, they will register and they will pay GST. If they don't have a physical presence in India, then we need to check whether their authorized representatives are in India. If their authorized representatives are in India, then those authorized representatives will register and pay. If they don't have an authorized representative also. For example, Uber, if you take, Uber is a foreign company. They don't have any physical presence in India, but they have authorized representatives. They have representative office in India for the purpose of signing up the contracts with the drivers. So therefore, that authorized representative office will be registered and paying GST. What if they don't have authorized representative also? Then in that case, they should appoint a person for payment of GST. Okay, they should appoint a person for payment of GST. Example, Urban Company. Previously Urban Clap, now Urban Company. So they are located outside India. It's a Dubai based entity and they don't have physical presence in India. Even they don't have a representative in India. Everything is through online only. Now, they should appoint a person in India for the purpose of payment of GST. Such e-commerce operator shall appoint a person in the taxable territory for the purpose of paying tax, and such person shall be liable to pay tax. Are you getting this? So this is about supplies through e-commerce operator. Next, that is who will be paying GST? E-commerce operator, and that e-commerce operator, if they don't have physical presence in India, then what will happen? Now, some important points in this regard. First, when e-commerce operator is liable to pay GST, they are not required to deduct TCS. Yes, TCS concept is not applicable for e-commerce operator, because there is a concept called as TCS, but that is not there for CA Inter. Thank God it is omitted. So for CA Inter, TDS concept is omitted. So we don't have that in syllabus. So that is not there. And generally e-commerce operator liable to pay GST, they are not liable to deduct TCS. Just remember that one point. Then only in case of notified services, e-commerce operator is liable to pay GST. In other cases, supplier shall pay GST. That point we discussed. Now, this e-commerce operator who is liable to pay GST in the second case, so that e-commerce operator should compulsorily register. So this e-commerce operator should compulsorily register. So compulsory registration to which e-commerce operator? So whenever supply of notified service are made through e-commerce operator, that e-commerce operator is compulsorily required to get registered. Whereas the other two e-commerce operators are they need to register only when they are liable to deduct TCS. So these two e-commerce operators are liable to register compulsory registration only when they are liable to deduct TCS. So they are liable to deduct TCS. In some cases. What are those cases? Is not in syllabus. So don't break your head. There is a concept of TCS. Whenever that e-commerce operator is liable to deduct TCS, no doubt they need to compulsorily register. When they are liable to deduct TCS is not in syllabus, okay? But if they are liable to deduct TCS, they are compulsorily required to get registered. But what about the second e-commerce operator? Always compulsory registration. Next, that is that point. Next one here. Also every supplier of taxable goods through e-commerce operator. So please make the correction here. Actually, it is not taxable goods and it is supplier of goods. So this word taxable is to be omitted. This word taxable is to be omitted based on interpretation here actually. So whether they supply taxable goods or whether they supply any goods, they are compulsorily required to get registered. So please omit that word taxable. Whether they are supplying exempted goods or taxable goods, they are compulsorily required to get registered. Okay. So therefore this is based on interpretation, but the intention is not this, but this is how the law is given. So that's the reason why for exam purpose we should not take risk. So remove that word taxable. Every supplier of goods through e-commerce operator is compulsorily required to get registered. So what about this? So this supplier is there now, this first supplier is compulsorily required to get registered. This supplier, compulsory registration to this supplier. So compulsory registration to the supplier of goods through e-commerce operator. Then what about the next one? Supply of notified services is not required to register if they are supplying only through e-commerce operator. If they make direct supplies as well as supplies through e-commerce operator, they need to register as and when the aggregate turnover exceeds threshold limit. Now concentrate. Now this I am dividing into two. Only through ECO. So supplies only through ECO. For example, there is a driver who is running the cab only through Ola or Uber, only through ECO. Not at all required to get registered. Exempted from registration. exempted from registration. So not at all required to register, exempted from registration. Suppose if they are supplying directly as well as through ECO, direct as well as through ECO, direct as well as through ECO. So what does it mean? Direct as well as ECO means, so the same driver is running the cab, for Ola as well as directly. So register when ATO exceed threshold limit. Register when ATO exceed threshold limit. When ATO exceed threshold limit, they are required to register. What about a supplier of other services? Simple. They are also register when ATO exceed threshold limit. Register when aggregate turnover exceed threshold limit. Now, so this is this case. For example, there is a restaurant. That restaurant is supplying through e-commerce operator. When that restaurant is required to register, only when that restaurant's turnover exceeds threshold limit, they need to register. Once they register, they will only pay GST. Now, there is a driver who is supplying service only through Ola. He is not at all required to register, notified services. Suppose if he supplies services directly as well as through Ola, he need to register as and when the turnover exceeds threshold limit, and even though he registers, so then still it will be coming under notified services and supply through e-commerce operator who will pay GST, e-commerce operator will pay GST. For direct supplies he will pay GST. Suppose if there is a hotel and that hotel is registered and is providing the rooms only through GoIBibo. Now they are not at all required to register. If they provide rooms through GoIBibo as well as to the guest who directly walk in that case what will happen? So it will be they are required to register as and when the aggregate turnover exceed threshold limit, and whenever their aggregate turnover exceed threshold limit, automatically it will not become a notified service. Why? Because they are required to register. Once the supplier is registered in case of accommodation service and housekeeping service, that is no more a notified service. Okay. So this is about the registration requirements. In case of e-commerce operator in accommodation service, while they are emitting payment to hotel which is collected from customer, is the TDS provision attracts. TDS provision and TCS provisions are not applicable for GST, which is excluded from syllabus. So that's the reason why I am not discussing this. Okay, but actually TDS is not applicable under GST for the purpose of these cases, because only government is required to deduct TDS. So again here nothing related to TDS and TCS under GST is applicable for your exam. So please avoid asking me any question related to TDS and TCS. That is out of syllabus. We don't have anything in syllabus related to that. Okay. So if you want to know about income tax TDS provisions, that I don't know. Okay. So this is about this. Then, sir, Amazon making sales of their own manufactured product named Amazon Basics, and also they make sales for third person. Will it come under supply of goods? Yes. With respect to Amazon Basics, it will not come under supply of goods through e-commerce operator, because it is their own goods they are selling through their own platform. It will not be called as supplies through e-commerce operator. Only when they sell the third party goods, that will be known as supplies through e-commerce operator. So this is with respect to it, and these are the special points concerning this. Okay, all these points I have incorporated into this chart. Now look into summary of important circulars. There are various circulars here, and these circulars can be asked as some small questions. Okay, so now we are going to discuss these circulars. With this taxable event chapter will be over. And we took considerable time because we touched the exemptions also due to that reason. And look into this information. Yes, see this. See what I did, I just gave summary of that circulars in the form of notes, okay. So this I will share with you because I don't want to again write it and spend time on that. So those circulars I just converted in the form of a chart, and these charts I will be giving it to you, okay. So this is about various circulars, summary of various circulars. So look into this. Circulars under GST. So have a look into this. First circular, look into this. There is a print shop and there is a customer. Customer will give the content, soft copy. Now what print shop will do? Print shop will print the material and give it to the customer. Now there are two aspects here in the printed material. Content is service, that is printing, they are printing now, that is service, and material used for printing is goods. They are printing, that is service, they are printing, that is service, and goods used for printing, ink, paper, etc., that is goods. So there are two elements, goods as well as services, and the customer will pay the consideration. Now how it should be classified? As supply of goods or supply of services? They are telling classified based on principal supply. That is, if content constitutes principal supply, content constitutes, so printing is only important there, then it will be treated as supply of service. Example, books, brochure, pamphlet, etc., that will become supply of service. Suppose if the content is not principal supply but material is the principal supply, content is just ancillary, means printing is just ancillary, then in that case, example, tissue papers purchased, letterheads purchased, etc. So what will happen? They will buy the material, they will print the logo and they will be giving it to you. Their material is only the principal supply but the printing is just ancillary. In that case, it will be treated as supply of goods, okay. So this is the first circular that we have. So this circular number 1 I just converted, not this circular number 1, this circular number 3, whether supply of books, pamphlets, brochures, envelopes, etc. So this one is there na. So this circular is this here, okay. Now look into another one. So if you want reference also I will give, but not required. I think you can understand it, but I will give it. So this is circular number, because many circulars have the same numbering here, that's why I will do one thing. Here I will give the number 1, 2, so this is the first circular that I discussed. So related to this, we have the information in the chart. Then next, look into the next one, second circular, that is Ford Limited is a factory in Tamil Nadu. Ford Limited also have a factory in Karnataka. Now from factory in Tamil Nadu to factory in Karnataka, they are transporting goods and tools in a lorry. Now when they send the lorry, on that lorry, the value of the lorry is 10 lakhs. Any transaction between distinct person is treated as supply. But on lorry there is no GST, even though it is movable, because there is a circular which says that lorry is transporting goods, so lorry should not be regarded as goods. Therefore there is no GST. Same way, tools which are transported from one distinct person to another distinct person should also not be treated as supply, and there is no GST. But with respect to goods present in that vehicle, so there will be GST on that. Value of goods 15 lakhs, there will be GST on that. Now what Ford Limited is doing, Ford Limited factory in Karnataka to Ford Limited workshop in Kerala, the lorry is sent for repairs. Whenever the lorry is sent for repairs, on that lorry there is no GST. Value of lorry 10 lakhs, no GST. Now again, from Ford Limited workshop in Kerala, the lorry is sent to Ford Limited factory Tamil Nadu after repairs. Now in this case, value of lorry no GST, but they are doing some repairs activity. They are doing some repair activity. On that repair activity there will be GST. Understood or not? On that lorry there is no GST, but on the repair service whatever they have provided, on that there will be GST. Sir, why sir? Even though it is transaction between distinct persons, but it will be treated as supply under 7(1)(c). So this circular is related to that. Then next one. So this first one only I just converted into that chart. Then look into this. There is a bus manufacturer. That bus manufacturer is sending the bus to transporter, but that bus is not completed bus. So bus without body, bus without body is sent to the transporter. Now the transporter is sending that bus to the workshop, and now what workshop is doing? They are building the body to that bus, and for doing that body building of the bus, they have done installation of seats, fabrication of structures, installation of AC, painting, etc. And now they are sending the bus back to the transporter. Now in this case, this workshop is doing the bus body building, whether it will be treated as supply of goods or supply of services, for which the circular says you need to classify it based on principal supply. So what is the principal supply here? Installation of seats only and making the structure is only the principal supply, but all the other things, labor charges or ancillary, so therefore it will be treated as supply of goods. Suppose if they do only painting, please see, if they do only painting, then in the painting work there is material and labor. In painting there is material and labor, but there painting is only the principal supply, but the material used is only ancillary. So therefore that should be treated as supply of service. That is this circular here. Okay. So this is in third one. So this third circular, whether the activity of bus body building. Then when an agent is termed as acting on behalf of principal, already we discussed where? We discussed that in principal agent transaction. When agent will be acting on behalf of principal, if agent issues invoice in case of sale transaction, in case of purchase transaction, if invoice is in the name of the agent. Okay. Then next circular, look into this, number 4. There is a tire manufacturer who gives a new tire to a lorry owner, and that is supply of goods. Now that lorry owner has used the tire. When the lorry owner has used the tire, he is selling the tire back to the manufacturer. Now the manufacturer did the rethreading on that old tire. So they will fix the grip, they will fix the rubber, and they will be giving the rethreaded tire to the lorry owner. So that is supply of goods. Suppose if it is not sold, then whatever rethreading that is done will be supply of service. For example, you are giving me one old tire, you did not sell, you gave me. Now I do the rethreading and give it, so it is supply of service. Now you sell the old tire to me, I will give supply of rethreaded tire, it is supply of goods. Understood? So this is that circular here, whether rethreading of tires is supply of goods or supply of services. So this one. Then look into the next circular, that is number 5. So this is number 5, circular number 5. There is, we need to discuss now the concept of priority sector lending certificate. Have a look into this example. There is one bank, Messrs. Lena Dena Bank, and there is another bank, State Bank of India. Now this Lena Dena Bank has got a license from RBI, and with a condition. What is that condition? They should be giving 40% of their deposits to priority sector. They should be giving 40% of their deposits to priority sector. Who is the priority sector? Farmers, startup, MSME, self-employed, women or youth. So these people are the priority sector. To them, at least 40% of their deposits should be given as loans. And this Lena Dena Bank for financial year 1920 has accepted a deposits of 100 crores. Out of that 100 crores, they gave loan to priority sector 30 crores. So how much they should have given? 40 crores. How much they gave? 30 crores. So what is the shortfall? 10 crores. On the other side, State Bank of India also got the same condition that 40% of their deposit should be given as loan to priority sector. And they got a deposits of 1200 crores and they gave loan to priority sector 600 crores. How much they need to give loan? 40% of 1200 crores, that is just 1200, 480 crores, but they gave 600 crores, means 120 crores they gave in excess. 120 crores they gave in excess loans. Now in this case, what will be happening? Lena Dena Bank will give 10 crores to State Bank of India and will get priority sector lending certificate. Now what will be the revised loans to priority sector? 40 crores. Please see, the revised loan to priority sector is 40 crore. How? 30 crore they gave and 10 crore worth of priority sector lending certificate they purchased. So 40 crore is the loan to priority sector by Lena Dena Bank. So they achieve the condition and their license will not be cancelled. Now what is the revised loans to priority sector by SBI? Already they made 600, now the 10 will come down, so it will be 590 because 10 crores of priority sector lending certificate has been given to other person. Okay, now State Bank of India is selling the priority sector lending certificate for 10 crores and they got money from Lena Dena Bank. So this will be treated as supply of goods and it is a interstate supply and chargeable to GST under RCM. It is always deemed to be interstate supply and chargeable to GST under RCM. Is it clear or not? So that is with respect to this circular here. So this is number 5 about priority sector lending certificate. Then next, related to the artworks, say this, circular number 6. There is an artist who makes a artwork and there is a art gallery which will be exhibiting this artwork and they will be selling. Mr. A is a buyer of artwork. First, the artist will be sending the artwork to the art gallery on 5/10/2020 and the art gallery will pay the consideration after reducing the margin. Okay. Now here what happens? Second, you see, first artwork will be sent to the art gallery, that is supply under 7(1)(a) and art gallery will be selling on 25/9/2021. 25/9/2021 art gallery will be selling it to Mr. A and they get consideration and the consideration will be remitted to artist after deducting their margin. Now in case of both these supplies, the time of supply is not 5/10 and 25/9, it is always 25/9. Even for the supply of the artist to the art gallery, it is not taxable at the time when the artwork is sent. It will be taxable only when the artwork is being sold to the buyer. They are deferring the tax liability. Please see. Chargeable to GST on 25/9/2021, both. In both the cases, supply takes place on 25/9/2021. So like that they gave a circular. Why? Because artist will not receive money now. Artist will receive money only when the artwork is sold, due to that reason. So this is that 6th circular here. Okay. This 6th circular related to the artwork. Then there is something called as tenancy rights related circular. So please see this. Circular number 7. That is, concentrate. There is a property owner and there is Mr. A who is a tenant. Concentrate here, very important. There is a property owner and there is a tenant. The property owner gives tenancy right to Mr. A, tenant, and there is a lock-in. Lock-in means what? For few years the tenant should not vacate the property. That is the meaning of lock-in. Lock-in means for few years the tenant should not vacate the property. So that is known as lock-in, for which this tenant gives a security deposit and a monthly rental of 40,000. Now, security deposit is not a consideration. Why? Security deposit is excluded from the meaning of consideration. But what about monthly rental? Monthly rental, we need to check whether it is a commercial property or a residential property. If it is a commercial property, that is commercial purpose, then it will be taxable. If it is for residential purpose, it is exempted, correct or not? So if the property is given on rent for commercial purpose, it will be taxable. If the property is given on rent for residential purpose, it is exempted. Now, what is happening? Mr. A gives the tenancy right to another tenant, subletting, gives the tenancy right to another person. So transfer of the tenancy right, he wanted to vacate but he cannot vacate, lock-in is there. So what he did, he identified another tenant and he gave the tenancy right to that tenant and he vacated the property. Now in this process he gets a tenancy premium. He gave the tenancy right, for giving the tenancy right he gets a tenancy premium. What is this tenancy premium? Some extra amount he will be getting. And why he will get tenancy premium? He is giving him an advantage. Who is giving an advantage? Tenant A is giving an advantage to tenant B. What is that advantage? Number one, tenant A would have incurred lot of interior etc. and all na. Then number two, tenant A, if he is having a lock-in of 3 years, already he stayed for 2 years. Now 1 year lock-in no one will give, but tenant A is giving it to tenant B for 1 year lock-in, means 1 year only. So tenant B can never be getting a 1 year lock-in, so it will be more than 3 years only. So therefore tenant B gets some advantage. Location advantage also, so therefore some premium will be paid. So tenancy premium is paid by tenant B to tenant A. How much is the tenancy premium? 80,000. And one other reason also is there for tenancy premium. How much ever rent at which tenant A pays, the same rent tenant B also continues. So generally, I don't know whether you have observed it or not, when we vacate a house, when a new tenant is coming, the property owner will increase the rent. Have you ever experienced it? So when we vacate a property and a new tenant comes in the same property, the property owner increases the rent. You understood? So unless otherwise, it is a difficult situation like the current situation, COVID pandemic. Suppose if it is a situation like COVID pandemic and all, it will not happen. But otherwise, the rent will be increased. Now in this COVID pandemic, it is reverse. So now compared to the previous rent, now the rent will be coming down because no one is running business. Everyone is shutting down and leaving. So therefore, due to that reason, so it will happen, but generally the rent they will revise. But tenant B has got the advantage. He will continue with the same rent. Therefore, tenant B will pay some premium. How much premium? 80,000 premium is paid to tenant A. Now, that 80,000 premium is always taxable. That 80,000 premium is always taxable, irrespective of whether the property is for commercial purpose or residential purpose. Now, Mr. A shares the tenancy premium with the property owner. Who shares? A will share. A got 80,000. He shares 20,000 with the property owner. So on that 20,000, in the hands of property owner, it will be taxable if it is related to commercial. If it is residential, that will not be taxable. It is exempted. Okay, that's what I have connected with a hash mark. So the tenancy premium will be taxable if it is in relation to commercial. The tenancy premium will be exempted if it is in relation to residential. Now in this case, who will raise invoice on whom? Mr. A will raise invoice. Mr. A will raise invoice on the Mr. B, correct? He receives the premium, tenancy premium. So A will raise invoice on B and A will be paying GST on 80,000. Now property owner will raise invoice on A, and if at all property owner liable to pay GST, they will pay GST on 20,000. Okay, so A will be paying tax on 80,000 and property owner will be paying tax on 20,000. So this is about the tenancy premium here. Okay, so with this we completed these 7 circulars. Okay, and this is circular number 7 related to tenancy premium. Now, you please quickly go through this and tell me which one you have doubt. So, I will clarify your doubts. So, please post your doubts related to these circulars. I will clarify. Okay. So, make it fast because I need to clarify these doubts and proceed to the other area. That's why. Sir, in private sector, not private sector here, priority sector lending certificate, only if SBI gives in excess that mentioned it can give loan, sir. It has already given 600 crores to private sector, priority sector and loan of 10 crores. How is it accounted, sir? I did not understand first of all your question, Saravana Kumar, but I am trying to explain based on my understanding. You mean to say 600 crores they gave loan to priority sector. Now what they are doing, when they give loan to the priority sector, they have the documents, loan documents. In these loan documents, 10 crore rupees worth of loan documents will be given to Lena Dena Bank. So that is known as sale of priority sector lending certificates. So actually the 10 crore is a loan given by State Bank of India to one person. They gave the loan. Now they transfer that to Lena Dena Bank and Lena Dena Bank has given 10 crores. Now my loan of 10 crores got converted into cash. Means what is a revised loan? Only 590 crores. And there Lena Dena Bank already they gave a loan to others 30 crores plus they purchased the certificate of 10 crores worth, which means that now they are indirectly giving loan to the priority sector. Like that. Then in circular number 2, okay, is the goods supplied itself is lorry or some other goods? Some other goods. Lorry will never be considered as goods. That is this circular. Lorry should not be treated as goods for payment of GST. Same way tools, there is no GST. That is this circular. But the goods are there inside that lorry. That will be treated as goods and chargeable to GST. So lorry is goods actually, but it should not be treated as goods for payment of GST because there is a circular which gives the relief to us. So that's it, your doubts. You don't have any other doubts related to this? Fine. So then you have understood all these things. Super, yeah. Now let me proceed to the other circular, that is Del Creditor Agent Circular. Del Creditor Agent Circular. What is this? Del Creditor Agent is a person. Del Creditor Agent is a person who is acting like who is actually giving a finance to the customer. And generally in Del Creditor Agent what we would have learnt is that at foundation level and all, what your accounts faculty would have told Del Creditor Agent means they will bear the risk of bad debts. That agent who bears the risk of bad debts is known as Del Creditor Agent. Now we are learning the true meaning of Del Creditor Agent here. Why the hell he need to bear the risk of bad debts? Now listen carefully. There is a principle. I am an agent. There is a principle, I am an agent. And there is one buyer, you are my buyer. Now what I am doing? I will be giving goods to you. Principal will give goods to me, I will be handing over the goods to you. I will receive money from you, I will deduct my commission and I will pay money to the principal. This is what a normal agent will do. A Del Creditor Agent will first pay money and then recover it from the buyer. Got it? A normal agent will recover money and then pay to principal. But a Del Creditor Agent first pay money and then recover it from the buyer. Got it? Got it? So whenever the sale happens, the del credit agent is giving a credit facility to the buyer. The del credit agent is giving a credit facility to the buyer by making the payment to the principal. Now in this case, del credit agent gets interest because he is giving a financing facility. So he gets an interest. Because he gave a credit period, he gets an interest. Whether that interest is taxable or exempted is the point of dispute. Why we need to have dispute, sir? Because interest comes in two places in GST. Interest income comes in two places in GST. Concentrate. Interest income comes in two places in GST here. That is, interest on loans, advances and deposits. So interest income comes in two places in GST. First, on loans, advances and deposits. On loans, advances or deposits. On loans, advances or deposits. This interest income on loans, advances or deposits is exempted. This interest income on loans, advances and deposits is exempted. Whereas interest income on delay in payment of consideration, on delay in payment of consideration, on delay in payment of consideration, and this interest income is taxable and included in value of supply. Included in value of supply. Which one? Whenever the interest is on account of delay in payment of consideration. Okay. So now we need to understand this with an example. Let's see with an example. Now concentrate. What is happening? There is a person who gives the loan. Okay. So there is a money lender here. There is a money lender. This money lender will be giving loan to one person, Mr. A. There is a money lender who gives loan to Mr. A. And for giving loan to Mr. A, how much loan? Say loan of rupees 1 lakh. Loan of rupees 1 lakh. For which Mr. A pays. For which Mr. A pays on this loan of 1 lakh. Mr. A pays an interest also. So repay loan rupees 1 lakh with interest rupees 12,000. Now this 12,000 is there na, that is exempted. This 12,000 is exempted. Understood or not? Because it is on loans, advances or deposits. Then next, here we will see one example. There is a supplier. There is a supplier and there is a recipient. Supplier made sale of goods. Supplier made sale of goods to the recipient. When supplier made sale of goods for rupees 1 lakh, sale of goods for rupees 1 lakh, recipient has to pay within 30 days. So what is the time limit? Net 30. Net 30 means what? Recipient should make payment within 30 days. So recipient paid after 30 days. Recipient paid after 30 days. So recipient should also pay interest for delay in payment. So recipient is required to pay interest for delay. Now that interest is there na? That interest, say he is paying interest on delay some 5,000 rupees, that interest will be taxable. That interest will be taxable. Now in this context, del credit agent is getting interest. So if you see del credit agent's interest, del credit agent gets interest. If you take the interest collected by the del credit agent as interest on loans and advances, then it is exempted. If you take the interest received by the del credit agent as interest for delay in payment of consideration, then it will be treated as taxable. Now, how we need to treat it? So, what del credit agent will do? Del credit agent will tell that, sir, it is financing, sir, loan I gave and I got interest, so exempted. But what department will say, no, this is for delay in receipt of consideration, so therefore that interest will be taxable. Finally, CBIC gave one circular. What is that? Now concentrate. There is a principle. I am a del credit agent. You are my buyer. Now, for you, invoice is raised by the principal. For you, invoice is raised by the principal. Means to you, principal is the supplier. I am not the supplier. Again, I am repeating. There is one principal. There is one principal. I am your agent. You are my buyer. Done. Now, invoice who raised it to you? Invoice who raised it to you? Principal directly raised invoice to you. Means for you, supplier is principal. I am not the supplier. Then when you pay interest to me, that is purely finance transaction and it is exempted. Got it? That is purely finance transaction and it is exempted. Suppose, if I raise invoice to you, for you, I am the supplier. For you, I am the supplier. Now, when you pay interest to me, that is for delay in payment of consideration and it should be charged to GST. So, that is this circular. So, if principal, this is circular number 8. That is, principal is there, del credit agent is there and customer is there. Now, invoice is directly raised by the principal. So, supply of goods by the principal directly. Now, del credit agent gets only interest. That interest is exempted. Suppose in the second situation, del credit agent raises the invoice to the customer, supply of goods. Now, del credit agent gets the interest. Then in that case, that interest is for delay in payment of consideration and it is taxable. Got it? So, this is about the del credit agent concept here. So, with this we completed all the circulars. Then, sir, can you please explain circular on tire manufacturer once again? So, say this here. That is, there is a tire manufacturer who will be giving new tire to the lorry owner. Sale of new tire is supply of goods, no doubt. Now, the lorry owner uses the tire. For using the tire, what will happen? The lorry owner, the grip on the tire will be lost. So, the lorry owner will be returning the old tire to the tire manufacturer. And whether the old tire is sold or not sold, we need to check. If the old tire is sold, now the tire manufacturer gives a rethreaded tire. What tire manufacturer will do? On that old tire, they will put the grip and they will give. So, when the old tire is sold by the lorry owner and the tire manufacturer is giving the rethreaded tire, it is supply of goods. Because it is not. The old tire is no more belonging to the lorry owner. So, it is treated as supply of goods. Suppose, if the old tire is not sold by the lorry owner, he just gave it to the tire manufacturer and the tire manufacturer fixes the grip and he gives, means he is doing some process on the goods belonging to other person. So, therefore, it will become supply of service. That is that. Then, when the owner is required to pay GST, sir, which owner? Which owner is required to pay GST? Please ask the question specific. Which owner you are asking? So, is it the property owner example? If it is the property owner example, property owner is liable to pay GST if the property is given for commercial purpose. First, please ask the question here clearly. Then, tenancy rights, last points. See this, Mr. A has got the tenancy right. He gives the tenancy right to Mr. B, for which tenant A will get the tenancy premium. There may be many reasons for that. So Mr. A gets the tenancy premium. So on the tenancy premium, Mr. A only should pay GST whether that property is for any purpose, commercial purpose or residential purpose. On the tenancy premium, GST is payable by Mr. A only. And Mr. A will share a portion of the tenancy premium with the property owner. On that portion of the tenancy premium, property owner is liable to pay GST if that property is given for residential purpose, exempted, but that property is given for commercial purpose, then it is taxable. Okay. Then, sir, in circular, if invoice is raised by agent and interest is paid to principal, that's impossible here, because here the finance facility is not given by principal. The finance facility is given by the agent only, so the principal will not give the finance facility. That's a hypothetical question. Question is impossible question. Then, sir, in circular number 7, already tenant A paid GST on 80,000. Then why again house owner is paying GST on 20,000? Because house owner will pay GST on 20,000. That is a different supply. Supply number 1 is between tenant A and tenant B. That is first supply. Now supply number 2 is between house owner and the tenant A. Two supplies are there. It is not one supply. Two supplies are involved. So tenant A to tenant B. Tenant A gives the transfer right for which he get the tenancy premium. On the tenancy premium, tenant A should pay GST. Now the second supply is between property owner and the tenant A. Property owner allowing tenant A to transfer the tenancy right to another person, for which the property owner gets some share of the tenancy premium. So in that case, the property owner should pay GST. If the property owner pay GST, the tenant A can take it as ITC. Then when art is purchased from gallery, is it treated as supply of service? No. Artwork is always supply of goods. Artwork is not supply of service. Artwork is always supply of goods. Then can we say Bajaj Finserv, Capital First, HDB Finance, Finserv as an example of Del Creator agent? They are purely financiers. They are not Del Creator agents. They will not be selling. They will only give financing facility. They will never be selling. They will never be handing over the goods. They are purely financiers, and whatever interest income that they get is completely exempted. Whatever interest income that they get completely exempted. They are not Del Creator agents. Then in DCA, both cases the DCA pays the amount to the principal before the customer pays to DCA. Okay, in DCA, both the cases DCA pays the amount to the principal before the customer pays to DCA. Yes, correct. That is the meaning of Del Creator agent. That's the meaning of Del Creator agent. Del Creator agent will make the payment first to the principal and then recover it from the recipient. In both the cases, same. Then circular number 5. Please see the video again here, because I have explained this circular. If you have doubt in this circular, I can explain. See, how many times I should tell? Don't ask me to explain or repeat the concept. Ask me what is your doubt in that circular number 5. This is a very big circular. And what is the doubt you have, you ask me. I will explain. See, it is a video which is available. Recorded video is available. And it all takes 10 minutes for you to go back and see that. If you have not at all explained, if you have not at all understood anything. But when you have understood few things you have a doubt, then I can respond to it. But there is no point in again repeating it. Suppose if it is a face-to-face class, if you ask me to repeat, there is a point. But here anyhow it is recorded, available na in YouTube, you can watch it again. Then, sir, in circular number 7, see, you know what doubt means? Doubt means, see how others are asking. Sir, in this place, why it is like this? So this is the doubt. Adu appreciable, very good, super, amazing, encourageable for me also. Someone is asking a doubt. Doubt means that. Doubt does not mean, sir, repeat it again is not doubt. That is already it is there. You can see it. Doubt means, see, one student has asked me, sir, in circular number 7, the property referred to is a residential property, right? So that is a doubt. So she understood that question and she is asking me that it is a residential property or commercial property. So there I will give an explanation. I took it as a residential property. If it is a commercial property, always it is taxable, no doubt. So what I took is a residential property. If I take the commercial property, always it will be taxable, okay? So if the property is a commercial property, always it is taxable, no need to have the distinction, okay? So please ask me doubts that way, even that will motivate me to tell more things. But don't ask me doubt, sir, once again repeat that point. Not possible, sir, please, sir. You ask me what is doubt in that, I will tell. Sir, in circular number 7, the property referred to is a residential property only. And if it is a commercial property, always it is taxable. Then, sir, in notified service, the aggregate turnover limit is for value of service done by the hotel other than to e-commerce operator for getting registered. Yes, value of the hotel we should take. So we should take whatever the services that they are rendering directly as well as through e-commerce operator, both should be counted in the aggregate turnover. Not only services directly, but also through e-commerce operator when they render services, that should be taken into the aggregate turnover. So that is that doubt here, fine. Now let me proceed to the other area. We completed this taxable event under GST and all circulars related to that. Now we are looking into the past exam and RTP questions. Explain the meaning of the term recipient of supply of goods and or services under GST. So it is given in May 2018 exam. That is, who is called as a recipient of service? Now listen. We need to know whether the goods are supplied for consideration or without consideration. If the goods are supplied for consideration, if the goods and services are supplied for consideration, the one who is liable to pay consideration, not the one who pays consideration. The one who is liable to pay consideration is known as recipient, not who pay consideration. For example, there is a holding company which asked me to render the services to the subsidiary company. Now, for me, who is liable to pay consideration, holding company, even though subsidiary company pays, that is not treated as consideration, that is not treated as recipient. Consideration only, that is treated as consideration only, but not treated as recipient. For me, recipient is holding company only, because who is liable to pay consideration if consideration is involved in the transaction. Suppose if consideration is not involved and it is supply, then one who received the goods should be taken as the recipient and one who received the services should be taken as the recipient. Please see. Where consideration is payable for supply of goods or service or both, person who is liable to pay that consideration. Where consideration is not payable and it is supply of goods, the person to whom goods are delivered or made available. Then if it is services, the person to whom the service is rendered, okay? And we also include the agent. We also include the agent in this, okay? So this is the meaning of recipient of supply of goods or services. Then look into another question. Explain the meaning of supply as per the provisions of section 7 subsection 1 of CGST Act. That 3 points you need to write, 71A, 71B, 71C, that you need to write. List the inclusions and exclusions in computing the aggregate turnover. Theory question. So aggregate turnover meaning we have learned, that we need to reproduce, okay? Then, so CGST, SGST, Union Territory Tax, Integrated Tax and Compensation Cess. Then look into this question number 5 that we have completed. So these are the questions asked in the past exam, MTP, RTP, etc. related to this taxable event. But apart from that, lot of other questions we have discussed. Okay. Now we are moving on to the exemptions. Because we completed taxable event under GST, that concept block 2 we have completed, but in exemptions already I started the discussion, so I wanted to complete that exemptions also because few exemptions we have already discussed. Now look into this, page number 96, please take page number 96, exemptions in GST, exemptions in GST. In that, first one, agriculture related services, agriculture related services. Listen, so we are taking agricultural sector and we are analyzing what are the exemptions in relation to it. Now already those exemptions where RCM is applicable we completed, those exemptions related to RCM, and in remaining cases it is like RCM points we discussed. Now whatever we are discussing as now exemptions, in the balancing figure wherever it is taxable it will be FCM. Okay. So now look into the first sector, agricultural sector, we don't have any RCM here, fully FCM only if it is taxable. Now what we are learning is exemption. Services provided in relation to agriculture or agricultural produce is exempted. We are not discussing now about an agriculturist, a farmer. We are not discussing about that person. We are discussing about there is one service provider who provided services, and that services provided is in relation to agriculture, or that services provided is in relation to agricultural produce. Example, so I am doing the harvesting service, or I am supplying the labor required for agriculture, or I am doing the testing of the soil, I am doing testing of the seeds, I am doing testing of the plant. So that I am doing services by way of providing farmer training. So I am training the farmers how to do agriculture. I am giving the agricultural land on rent. I am giving the agricultural equipment on rent, like that. So service in relation to agriculture. Same way, service in relation to agricultural produce. What is that? So I am giving the warehouse on rent to keep the agricultural produce, or I am packing the agricultural produce, or I am transporting the agricultural produce, like that. Okay. So services in relation to agricultural produce is exempted. So any service in relation to agriculture or agricultural produce is exempted. Okay. What is the meaning of agriculture? Agriculture means rearing of, that is cultivation of crops, no doubt. That is the general meaning of agriculture. But here agriculture has gotten another meaning also. Rearing of all life forms of animals other than horses. Rearing of all life forms of animals other than horses. For what? For what? For food, fiber, fuel, raw material or other similar products. See, there are some animals which cannot be reared. Which cannot be reared. These are known as endangered species. There is something called as endangered species. Endangered species. So, rearing not possible. Rearing means not taking care of it for reproduction. Rearing is not possible. Rearing is not possible. Example, tortoise, and then tiger, then deer, peacock. So all these are what? Endangered species. Rearing is not possible. So other than endangered species, other than horses. Horses is excluded. Horses allowed. You can take care for reproduction, but it is not used for food, fiber. That's why it is excluded from agriculture. So endangered species will not come. Rearing is not possible in this case. Now, what is the meaning of agriculture? First, cultivation of plants. For what purpose? Any purpose. Cultivation of plants is for any purpose. And rearing of life forms of animals for what purpose? Other than horses, for what purpose? Food. Example, poultries. Example, poultries will come under, rearing of animals for food. Then fiber, sericulture, silkworm cocoons. Silkworm cocoons will come under rearing of life forms of animals for fiber. Then fuel. Then raw material. Example, we have honeybee farming. So honeybee farming we do for the sake of raw material. Understood or not? That is, honey is used as raw material for many products like that. Then or other similar products. Next. So this is with respect to the meaning of agriculture. Then, so what is agriculture? Rearing of all life forms of animals except rearing of horses for food, fiber, fuel, raw material or any other similar products. Then agricultural produce. Agricultural produce means the primary produce out of agriculture on which no further processing is done. So primary produce out of agriculture. So means, for example, mango crop, the mangoes, raw mangoes is the agricultural produce. The primary produce out of agriculture on which either no processing is done. So raw mango, or such processing is done as is usually done by a cultivator or producer, which does not alter its essential characteristics but makes it marketable for primary market. What is that? Ripening the mango fruit, raw mango to mango fruit, a process happens. What is that process? Ripening, but still it is agricultural produce. Then tender coconut, agricultural produce, sun dried and thereafter we peeled a layer, coconut, agricultural produce. Are you getting this? So in this case it is not becoming some other product, it is the same product, so still it will be treated as agricultural produce. So on which no processing is done or some processing as is usually done by a cultivator or producer, which does not alter its essential characteristics. So that will be known as agricultural produce. And is paddy agricultural produce? Yes. But rice is not an agricultural produce because rice is processed and this processing is not done usually by a cultivator or producer. This will be done by rice mills. That's the reason why rice is not an agricultural produce but paddy is an agricultural produce. Now, any service in relation to agriculture or agricultural produce is exempted. As rice is not an agricultural produce, they have given few exemptions related to rice. Please see. So, in case of rice, loading, unloading, storage and packing is exempted. Only these 4 activities are exempted. What about these 4 activities for agricultural produce? Any activity for agricultural produce is exempted. As rice is not an agricultural produce, they have given some exemptions here. Understood? Then next, fumigation. Fumigation in a warehouse of agricultural produce is exempted. What is this? So there is a warehouse. In that warehouse, we are filling the warehouse with pesticides, insecticides, gases, etc. That process is known as fumigation. And this fumigation of the warehouse is for the purpose of protecting the agricultural produce which is kept in the warehouse. So this is not directly in relation to agricultural this is not directly in relation to agricultural produce. So fumigation in a warehouse is not directly in relation to agricultural produce or agriculture. That's why a separate exemption is available. So but we will be filling the warehouse with pesticides, etc., for which we get money, and that warehouse is a place where agricultural produce is kept. Okay. Then artificial insemination of livestock. So livestock reproduction So cattle reproduction etc. it is not happening through natural process. We give injections, artificial insemination. For that we collect some money, that is also exempted. Then look into the fifth point. Services by way of storage or warehousing of. See, generally storage and warehousing of agricultural produce is exempted, correct? Generally storage and warehouse of agricultural produce is exempted because any service in relation to agricultural produce is exempted. But there are few goods given in this, even though not agricultural produce, but its storage or warehousing is exempted. Cereals and pulses are not agricultural produce. Cereals and pulses are not agricultural produce, but you store it, it is exempted. The warehousing charges is exempted. Fruits and nuts, fruits are anyhow agricultural produce, but nuts are not agricultural produce. Even though it is not agricultural produce, but the service is exempted. Vegetables, agricultural produce. Spices, not agricultural produce. Copra, agricultural produce. Sugarcane, agricultural produce. Jaggery is not agricultural produce. Raw vegetable fibers such as cotton, flax, jute, etc. is not agricultural produce. Indigo is agricultural produce. Unmanufactured tobacco is not agricultural produce. Betel leaves, tendu leaves are agricultural produce. Coffee and tea is not agricultural produce. So when it is already an agricultural produce, you don't have to remember it because storage and warehousing of agricultural produce is anyhow exempted. But see the other areas, what is that? Cereals, pulses, nuts, spices, jaggery, cotton, flax, jute, etc. Then unmanufactured tobacco, coffee and tea. Coffee and tea is not agricultural produce. Coffee berries is agricultural produce and tea leaves are only agricultural produce. Okay. So these goods, even though not agricultural produce, but when we store it, it is exempted. Then number 6, warehousing of minor forest produce. Minor forest produce means bamboo, lax, etc. So these are forest produce, not agricultural produce. So that's why it is given as a separate exemption. Warehousing of minor forest produce. Then slaughtering of animals. So there are lot of slaughterhouses which will be killing animals. They will take flesh out of it and they will pack it and give. So these slaughterhouses will receive money and that is exempted. So these are the various exemptions in connection with agriculture sector. Okay. Apart from this, any other service will be taxable, but majority are covered under exemption. This is with respect to agriculture related services. So you need to remember these points. So in exam, when you see a particular point, you will know, yes, it is connected with agriculture, therefore it is exempted. No, it is not given, therefore it is taxable. So whatever you know, we are learning this. When you see the question, it appears like we learnt it, it is exempted. No, we did not learn it. It is something new, taxable. Okay. Then in that taxable, whether it is FCM or RCM, just run through Sir CG got salads. If it is covered in that Sir CG got salads, it is RCM. Otherwise, it will be FCM. Next, banking and other financial services. Listen, first point already we have completed. What is that? Services provided by RBI is fully exempted. Now RBI is receiving services, that is service provided to RBI. If it is import of services, management of foreign exchange reserves exempted, any other service will be taxable. If any other person is providing services to RBI, if that person is a overseeing committee providing services to RBI, it is taxable under RCM. If it is any other service provider rendering services to RBI, then it will be taxable under FCM. This discussion already we have made. Now look into the second point. That is, already we discussed this today only, interest income. So, transaction in money, divide into two. With consideration, without consideration. Transaction in money, for consideration, without consideration. Divide into two. Transaction in money without consideration is neither goods nor services. Leave it. Because money is given under both goods and services as an exclusion. So transaction in money without consideration is neither goods nor services. Leave it. Transaction in money for a separate consideration. For a separate consideration. And that consideration that is service. Transaction in money for a separate consideration is service, and that consideration is divided into two. Interest or discount, it is exempted. Any other consideration including interest in case of credit card is taxable under FCM. Okay, so consideration represented by way of interest or discount is exempted. If it is any other consideration including interest involved in credit cards, it will be taxable under FCM. Okay, so what does it mean? That is, what is the difference between interest and discount? Timing difference. If the excess amount, if the additional consideration is collected upfront, it is known as discount. So generally money lenders, when they give loans, they will be deducting the interest and they will give. That deducted interest is known as discount. Interest collected upfront is known as discount. Okay. So what is discount? Interest collected upfront. Interest collected upfront. Interest collected upfront is known as discount. Okay. Any other consideration including interest in case of credit cards, that will be taxable under FCM. Okay. Any other consideration including interest in case of credit cards is taxable under FCM here. So this is with respect to transaction in money. Sir, what about interest in credit card? That is, you go to a shop, you buy something, you swipe it. When you swipe it, you convert it into EMI. In that EMI there is interest. That interest will be taxable. Instead, you take a loan. For purchasing the product, you take a loan, consumer durable loan. There are a lot of financiers like HDB, Capital First, Bajaj Finance, like that. You take a loan and you pay interest. That interest is exempted. Are you getting this? You wanted to buy iPhone here. You go to a Apple store and you purchase an iPhone for rupees 60,000. You swipe the credit card and convert into EMI. On that interest, there is GST. Instead, you go to the same store and you ask for any finance facility. They say Bajaj Finance is available. You pay it in EMI. There also you pay interest. On that interest, there is no GST. It is exempted. Are you getting this? So interest on credit cards is taxable, and that is FCM. Got it? Then this is, sir, what is any other consideration? Example, commission, DD commission, demand draft commission, and then we have this charges, NEFT, RTGS charges. Then minimum balance, non-maintenance charges, like that. Okay, so like that many charges are there. Minimum balance, non-maintenance charges, annual maintenance charges, debit card charges, credit card charges, like that. What all there? Everything. All these are any other consideration, and that will be coming under taxability. So that is about the second exemption. Okay, then third exemption, services provided by banking company to basic savings bank deposit holders under Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. That is, there is a scheme called as PMJDY, wherein all the people were asked to open the bank accounts, nil balance accounts, to transfer the LPG subsidy. People were given the opportunity to open the nil balance accounts. So these nil balance accounts under PMJDY scheme, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana scheme, will be opened, and now these account holders will be receiving some services from the bank for which they need to pay some charges. That charges collected by the bank is exempted. Please see. Services provided by banking company to basic savings bank deposit holders under PMJDY. What about other customers? That charges will be taxable. But if the same charges collected from these customers, that is savings account holders under PMJDY scheme, those charges are fully exempted. Then number 4, foreign exchange transactions. These foreign exchange transactions including money changing. What does it mean? I give one currency and take the other currency. That is known as foreign exchange transactions. If it is between banks, between forex dealers, between bank and forex dealer, it is exempted. Between banks, between forex dealers, between bank and forex dealer, it is exempted. Then when it will be taxable? Between bank or forex dealer and the customer, then it will be taxable under FCM. Okay. So forex transactions between bank exempted, between forex dealer exempted, between bank and forex dealers exempted. Then when it will be taxable? So between bank or forex dealer and the customer, it will be taxable under FCM. Understood or not? Only in the last case it will be taxable. This is with respect to foreign exchange transaction including money changing. Then look into number 5. Number 5, services by an acquiring bank to any person in relation to settlement of an amount up to 2000 rupees in a single transaction transacted through credit card, debit card, charge card or any other payment card service. What is this? Generally, when we make some payment, we will swipe the card. When we swipe the card, what is the swipe amount? Less than or equals to 2000. Please concentrate. Generally, when we make payment, we will swipe the card. What is the swipe amount? Less than or equals to 2000. Now, one bank will be processing this, will be taking money from our account and will be crediting into the supplier's account. That bank is known as acquiring bank, and that bank will be charging processing fee to the supplier. Sir, there is one supplier, sir, one shopkeeper, we are the customer, we go, we buy and we swipe the card. Now, if the swipe amount is less than or equal to 2000 rupees, then one bank will be taking money from our account and will be crediting into that supplier's account, that store account, for which they will be collecting processing charges. That processing charges is not exempted. That processing charges is not exempted, but GST on that processing charges is exempted. If the swipe amount does not exceed 2000, they will be collecting processing charges ranging between 1%, 2%, 3%, like that they will collect processing charges. That processing charges is not exempted, but GST on that processing charges is exempted. Please see. GST on processing charges for a transaction up to rupees 2000 is exempted. Okay. So that is that point. Point number 5. Then number 6. Services by the following persons in the respective capacities. This discussion already I have made. What is that? Business facilitator, business correspondent, rural area, agent of business facilitator correspondent to business facilitator correspondent. This discussion already we have made. That 6th point already we have covered. 7th point, that is services by an intermediary. There is one financial service intermediary located in India. That financial service intermediary is providing services to a multi-service SEZ. There is a financial service intermediary located in India who is providing services to multi-service SEZ and who is providing service in multi-service SEZ. He is located in a special economic zone, that intermediary, and providing services to customers located outside India in relation to currencies other than foreign currency. So there is a financial intermediary in India. Say for example, PayPal we will take. PayPal is one intermediary, financial service intermediary, who is located in a multi-service special economic zone in India, and they render services to the customers, US customers, in relation to dollars. Now, they are exempted from payment of GST even though they are located in India. Sir, why are they located in India? Because they can get human resource in India and the human resource is costly in abroad due to that reason. So these people receive any amount that is exempted. That is this point here, okay. So these are the 7 exemptions that we have in banking and other financial services. So we completed agriculture and banking, okay. Now there are few queries. I will clarify those queries and I will give a break, and thereafter you put your doubts and I will clarify that later, okay. Now, sir, who is liable to pay GST in scenario 2 of DCA? Who is liable to pay GST in scenario 2 of DCA? In Del Creditor Agent scenario 2, GST is payable by the Del Creditor Agent only on the interest, because that interest is collected by the Del Creditor Agent. So on interest, Del Creditor Agent only is required to pay GST. Then, sir, who is liable to pay GST in circular number 5? In this circular number 5, RCM, please see carefully RCM. RCM means the recipient bank. Who is selling here? Priority sector lending certificate, who is selling? State Bank of India is selling and Lena Dena Bank is buying. So recipient will pay GST, that is Lena Dena Bank. Why you did not discuss in 9 subsection 3, sir? Because this is supply of goods. Goods covered under RCM is not covered under, not discussed, not in syllabus, but I just gave it for understanding purposes, okay. Then suppose a farmer convert paddy to rice, then also it is taxable for rice, sir. Yes, because when farmer converts paddy to rice, but usually when they gave the word agricultural produce, they clearly specified as is usually done by a cultivator or farmer. So usually paddy to rice farmer will not do, it will be done by the rice mills. Usually, actually your question itself is a hypothetical question. Farmers will never engage in conversion of paddy to rice. Where from they will be sitting and converting it? Their work is not that, their work is cultivation. So that will be done in a rice mill, okay. That's why it is given that way. Next. Sir, in agriculture definition, fuel includes. Fuel includes means, see, if we use any agricultural produce for making fuel, that is, that we refer to fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, that is lot of animals, etc., killed animals, we will be throwing somewhere and we will be making a fossil fuel gases out of it. That is the meaning of that fuel, okay. Then, sure, here I will have water. Sir, in property owner circular, for tenancy premium, we have to see commercial or residential for the sub-rental property, right? No. For tenancy premium collected by the tenant, for tenancy premium collected by the tenant, whatever may be the property, it will always be taxable. But the tenancy premium collected by the property owner, the tenancy premium collected by the property owner, we need to check whether it is residential property and commercial property, and then accordingly we will decide, okay. Fine here. So whatever is your other doubt, you just put it and I will respond to that after the break. So now the time is 9:10, 9:08, we can have at 9:40, okay. So whatever is your doubt, you just put it, I will respond to those queries, and we will be starting with another service, that is healthcare service, after the break. So few queries to our friends related to the discussion what we had before the session, before break. So for monthly rent paid by next tenant, that is Mr. B to property owner, the same rule that if it is commercial property taxable and if it's residential property is exempted, the same rule applies, right? Yes, same rule applies. In circular 2, is the lorry itself is sent for repairs or the goods or tools inside it? Only lorry is sent for repairs. Only lorry is sent for repairs, not the goods and tools. In case of interest for not paying the interest, then it is also exempted. Yes, the penal interest is exempted if the main interest is exempted. If the main interest is taxable, penal interest is also taxable. That discussion we will be seeing in valuation. There I will explain that. Okay. Now look into this. Healthcare services. Healthcare services following are exempted. What is that? See this. Healthcare service provided in a clinical establishment by an authorized medical practitioner or by a paramedics, including ambulance services, is exempted. So what is this here? Healthcare services is provided, that is exempted when? If it is provided by either in a clinical establishment or authorized medical practitioner or paramedics, including ambulance services. What is the meaning of healthcare services? Healthcare services means before treatment, pre-treatment, that is diagnosing the patient, treatment, so surgery, operation, etc. Post-treatment, keeping the patient in observation or care for any disease, illness, injury, pregnancy, including transportation of the patient in ambulance. Okay, so it can be in any disease, or it can be any illness, or it can be due to injury or any pregnancy, including transportation of the patient, but does not include. So what does healthcare service excludes? 3: cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery and hair transplantation is excluded from healthcare service. But when it will be coming under healthcare service, these 3, if carried out to restore the anatomy of the body parts affected due to congenital defects, developmental abnormalities, injury or trauma. A person met with a fire accident, the skin is burnt, so therefore a plastic surgery is carried out. That plastic surgery is healthcare service and it is exempted. A film actor is undergoing a plastic surgery, it is not exempted, it will be taxable because it is excluded from healthcare services. Is it clear? Now if you see there, in any recognized system of medicine, it can be in any recognized system of medicine, the healthcare service need not be only in this regular English medicines, allopathy, it can be in homeopathy, siddha, unani and naturopathy, ayurvedic, like that, anything, and that should be recognized system of medicine. Sir, how do we know whether it is a recognized system of medicine or not? So for that it will be given in the question itself that it is a recognized system of medicine or not. Okay, so that is about the meaning of healthcare services. And for example, if there is a patient and that patient hand is dislocated because he met with an accident, so a cosmetic surgery is done. Now in that case, will it be treated as healthcare service? Yes, because that is to restore the body parts, so therefore it will come under healthcare services. Where this healthcare service should be provided? What is the meaning of diagnosis? Diagnosis means testing the patient, like blood test, sugar test, so BP, etc., like MRI, CT scan, X-ray, that will be coming under diagnosis. Then where this healthcare service should be? In a clinical establishment. What is a clinical establishment? Any place where a healthcare service is provided. That can be a hospital, clinic, nursing home or any place. Okay, by an authorized medical practitioner. Who is an authorized medical practitioner? A person who is having MBBS degree and is registered with the medical council, then he will be known as an authorized medical practitioner. And what if an authorized medical practitioner is not directly rendering the services to the patient? They are rendering services to the hospital. Hospital in turn renders services. Now in that case, whether it will be taxable or exempted? Exempted only. So doctor providing services to the hospital is exempted because it is healthcare service provided by doctor. But two they did not give. So doctor providing healthcare service is exempted to the hospital. Hospital in turn providing healthcare service to the patient is also exempted. Now hospital retains something, that is also exempted. Hospital is not required to pay any GST. Generally these consulting doctors and all, they will be associated with 2-3 hospitals. So what will happen? no, the hospital will be collecting a consulting fee of say 500 rupees per patient. Out of that, the hospital will retain some 200 and 300 rupees they will pay to the doctor. Now in that case, the hospital retains 200 rupees, let it be, hospital collecting 500 rupees is exempted, even doctor collecting 300 is also exempted. There is no GST in this case. So services provided by clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner or paramedics. Paramedics will assist the authorized medical practitioner. Examples for paramedics: physiotherapist, lab technician who carry the test, nurse, and then physiologist. So they will examine the body composition, etc., and they will suggest the surgery procedures, etc. So physiologist, all these people will be called as paramedics. They are not supposed to carry out the surgery, but they will be assisting the doctors. So that people will be called as paramedics. Then anyhow in healthcare services we have transportation of a patient in an ambulance, but separately also including ambulance service is given. What is the difference? Ambulance service may be part of healthcare or may not be part of healthcare. It is exempted. May be part of healthcare or may not be part of healthcare. It is exempted. For example, today hospitals will loot money like anything. You know what? There is one good singer by name S.P. Balasubramaniam. So very good singer, and people from Andhra also will be knowing him. Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka. So in all southern states, he knows all languages, and amazing singer he is. He is admitted in a hospital, and this hospital, one super speciality hospital in Chennai, he is admitted in the hospital. And like 15 days before, the news was that he is recovering. Actually, he is admitted because of COVID pandemic, and he is recovering, and he is progressing. At any time he will discharge, like that they said. But yesterday they are telling that he is serious. So critical, serious. What happened in the 15 days? Did they lie? Did they lie? Who knows? For the sake of money also they would have lied. And they get a free publicity, na? Every time news channel will tell, no, this hospital, this hospital, this hospital, like that. Okay. So like that, Apollo hospital has also got super marketing because of CM Jayalalitha, when she was admitted in the hospital. So super amazing promotion she got. Okay, like that hospital has got. So like that, these hospitals really people will not trust. So now a person is having a heart attack. So immediately his family members took that person to the Apollo hospital. Immediately he is telling, he recovered in the travel, and he is telling, don't take me to Apollo hospital. If I go there, I will never come back. So please take me to some other hospital, like that he is telling. Now Apollo hospital ambulance service is not doing the healthcare service. They are just transporting, and he will be taken to another hospital. That another hospital is providing the healthcare service. So now this ambulance service is exempted. Even the another hospital ambulance service also exempted, which means healthcare service, ambulance may or may not be part of healthcare, it is exempted. Ambulance service may or may not be part of healthcare service, it is exempted. Are you getting this? That is this point here about healthcare services. First point. Then next, cord blood banks. These cord blood banks will preserve the cord blood. So this umbilical cord that connects the mother and the baby contains some stem cells. So these stem cells, that blood in the umbilical cord contains stem cells which can be used for curing many diseases including cancer through stem cell therapy. So for that reason, many parents started preserving the cord blood. There are many cord blood banks. These cord blood banks will be receiving money for preserving the cord blood, and that money received by them is exempted. That is this cord blood banks by way of preservation of stem cells. Then healthcare services in relation to animals or birds, veterinary clinics. There are a lot of veterinary clinics which will be providing healthcare service in relation to animals or birds, that is exempted. Then services of common biomedical waste treatment operators. Who are these people? they actually collect the hospital waste and they will properly process it, recycle it, and they will disposing it off. So these people who collect the medical waste and dispose, hospitals will be paying money to them and that is exempted. These people are called as biomedical waste treatment operators. That money received is exempted. These are the 4 services which are covered under exemption in case of healthcare services. Apart from that, now you can look into below, there is one third point, latest exemption. What is that? Rehabilitation professionals. So generally nowadays lot of people are addicted to drugs. No, many people in the line, many people are coming. We will be wondered as to these people are drug addicts. Yes. So now drug addict will not be like how they will be shown in movies. So in movies we will be seeing that drug addicts means they will always be consuming drugs and all. No, not like that. Drug addicts, not that always they will consume, but they will be normal, but they are drug addicts. And these people needs to be counseled and they should be taken out. They should be taken out. And for that counseling, there are a lot of psychologists are being there. Their specialization is counseling. So they will be counseling the people who are drug addicts, alcohol addicts, etc. For doing this counseling, they will be receiving some money, even though they are not authorized medical practitioners, but they get money that is exempted. So see this. Services provided by rehabilitation professionals recognized under the Rehabilitation Council of India by way of rehabilitation therapy or counseling medical establishments, educational institutions, rehabilitation centers established by central or state government or union territory or an entity registered under 12A of the Income Tax Act. Understood? Then next. So second point already we discussed, services provided by consulting doctors to hospitals. Now look into the first point, renting of rooms. See, along with medical services, healthcare service, they also provide renting of rooms to the patients in the hospital and they will be supplying food, etc. Even that is also part of healthcare service and it is exempted. They are not providing accommodation service or supply of food service. All these are part. Sir, if it is given to the inpatients, then it is exempted. If it is to the outpatients, then it will be taxable. Please see. So there is a hospital. There is a hospital which is providing supply of food. Please make note there. Please make note. There is hospital which is engaged in supply of food. So this supply of food to inpatients. So they are engaged in supply of food. They are engaged in supply of food. To whom they provided food? To the inpatients. Inpatients means those who are admitted in the hospital are known as inpatients. Inpatients. Those who are admitted there. And others. Others. Others means others, that is outpatients, outpatients, then this staff, outpatients, visitors, staff, etc. So these people. So if supply of food is to inpatients, it is exempted. Why it is exempted? Because it is part of healthcare service, therefore it is exempted. If the supply of food is for others, that is outpatients, visitors, staff, etc., then it will be taxable. There is no exemption because it is not a part of healthcare service. Not a part of healthcare service. Is it clear? Not a part of healthcare service, therefore it is taxable. Then, now hospital is engaged in sale of medicines. Sale of medicines in a pharmacy. So pharmacy is there. Pharmacy which is engaged in sale of medicines, correct? Sale of medicines. To whom they are selling medicines? To whom they are selling medicines we need to see. they are selling medicines to inpatients. They are selling medicines to inpatients. No doubt that sale of medicines to inpatients is exempted. No need to pay GST. Why? Because it is part of healthcare service. Part of healthcare service. Is it clear? Part of healthcare service. Therefore, it is exempted. Part of healthcare service. Suppose if they sell medicines to outsiders or outpatients, that is others. To outpatients, they are selling medicines. To outpatients, they are selling medicines. Then will that be taxable? No. Yes, that will be taxable. It is not exempted. It will be taxable. Because it is just like that people who go there for consulting, they will be purchasing. That will be taxable. Whereas to inpatients, medicine sold is part of healthcare service and that is exempted. Whereas to others, it will be taxable. Not a part of healthcare service. Not a part of healthcare service. Is it clear? So these are the additional points related to that healthcare services apart from these 3 points whatever we have discussed. Please make note of this and please take a photograph of it, snapshot of it and keep. Later also you can make note. Okay. So with this healthcare services we have completed. Now look into it is not there, it is along with other questions, it is merged. Fine, we will complete this exemption and then we will see all the questions. So why to have disturbance? So we completed healthcare services and now I am moving on to entry tickets. But before that, few queries to our friends. I am discussing only those queries which are covered into this discussion of exemption. So remaining after class you please ask me. Related to these exemptions only I am discussing. Ambulance services used after death of a person, is that also exempted? No, it is not a supply. Because transportation of deceased is excluded from supply. But transportation of patient is covered under exemption supply. Okay. So transportation of deceased, not a supply. Transportation of patient or deceased, we need to see. Transportation of a patient is exempted supply, exempted. Transportation of a patient is exempted. Transportation of a deceased, not a supply. Not a supply because it is given under the death related activities, funeral, burial, crematorium, mortuary, including transportation of the deceased. So therefore that is not a supply. Then services provided for deceased, that's what? It is not a supply. Next, food given by hospital to doctor is exempted, sir. No, it is not exempted. This is the treatment. Food sold by hospital to doctor is taxable. Sir, if rehabilitation council is conducting awareness program to general public, is it still exempted? See, counseling, even awareness, all these are part and parcel. Because if you see, by way of rehabilitation, therapy, counseling is given. So therefore, awareness when they conduct, for which they will not get any money. When they conduct awareness, they will not get money. When they conduct awareness, they spend money. But when they really provide service, they receive money. At that time, it is exempted. Okay. So that is the meaning of this. Then others related to some queries which you have asked is not related to our discussion. That's the reason why I am not touching. But you keep it and you ask me after the session. Today's session gets over. Now, look into this. Entry tickets. Entry tickets. There are few entry tickets Irrespective of the ticket price, it is exempted. There are few entry tickets, only when the ticket price does not exceed 500 rupees per person, it is exempted. Now first, irrespective of ticket price, it is exempted. What are they? Museum, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserve, national park, zoo, or entry to protected monuments. So these are the 6 entry tickets. These are the 6 entry tickets. Irrespective of the ticket price, it is exempted. What are they? Museum, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserve, national park, zoo, and protected monuments. Entry to protected monuments like Taj Mahal, Charminar, Qutub Minar, etc. Okay. Then when the ticket price does not exceed 500, it is exempted in few cases. What if the ticket price exceeds 500? If ticket price exceeds rupees 500, then it is chargeable to GST. Then it is entirely taxable. Okay. So once it exceeds 500, fully it will be taxable. So the ticket price per person should not exceed 500. Now, what are those entry tickets? Circus, dance, award function, theatrical performance. Theatrical performance means drama, ballet, etc. Okay, theatrical performance including drama and ballet. So these are known as theatrical performance. Then concert. So whenever a particular person gives the music show, it is known as a concert. When a band of people performs, it is known as musical performance. Pageant, that is beauty shows. Then sporting events, any sporting event, recognized or unrecognized. Sporting event, whether recognized or unrecognized. So whether it is BCCI matches or IPL matches, recognized or unrecognized, but only thing the ticket price will not be less than 500 rupees. Then planetarium. So these are the entry tickets when it does not exceed 500, it is exempted. If it exceeds 500, fully it is taxable. So these are about entry tickets. Then insurance services. Related to insurance service, we have few exemptions. That is, there is a National Pension System Trust, NPS, National Pension System Trust. They provide life insurance services by way of annuity. So that money received by them is exempted by way of annuity. Annuity means they will be receiving only one single insurance premium, and that will be taking care of the life of the person. That is known as annuity scheme. Under that annuity, they will be providing life insurance service that is exempted by NPS. Then group life insurance fund. Group life insurance fund means for the group of people, they will be paying some premium, and that will be used for paying money to one person who is dead, to their family members. For example, army has a group insurance fund. So every person will contribute towards a group insurance fund, and if there is a death of any person, not only money from government or any other insurance company, even from that group insurance fund, amount will go to their family members. Understood or not? So that is known as army. Then Navy, Air Force, Coastal Guard, and Central Armed Police Forces. So life insurance services by group life insurance service by Army, Navy, Air Force, Coastal Guard, and Central Armed Police Forces, 5 people. Okay. Then services of general insurance. Services of general insurance by Army, Navy, general insurance provided under a government scheme. Actually, that is a service which is a general insurance service, and that general insurance service is provided under government schemes, and that is exempted. But how do you know that it is a government scheme or not? These schemes are targeted to agriculture and farmers, below poverty line, women and infants, and unemployed. So any scheme targeted to these people, there is a big list. You cannot remember that list. That's the reason why I have simplified it this way. Then life insurance under various government schemes. How to know it is a government scheme? It will end with the word Yojana. Then it is a government scheme. And even micro life insurance having a sum assured not exceeding 2 lakhs. So micro life insurance where the sum assured does not exceed 2 lakhs. So for this any premium collected is exempted. Apart from this, any other insurance premium collected will be taxable. Then insurance services provided to government is exempted. So government will also take insurance service, let it be life insurance or general insurance. Government will be taking insurance, so services, insurance service provided to government is exempted. Then these 5 services, life insurance or insurance service is exempted na, its reinsurance is also exempted. For example, I am providing insurance service to government, that is exempted. Now I take reinsurance from another insurance company, that is also exempted. That is that 6th point. So reinsurance of any exempted insurance service is also exempted. This is with respect to insurance services. Then pension services, there are 2 pension schemes. So in pension what will happen? We will be contributing monthly some amount towards the pension fund, and upon maturity amount will be paid out of that fund as pension. So that is known as pension funds. There are 2 pension funds which are exempted. Central government pension fund called as Atal Pension Yojana and state government pension fund. These 2 pension funds, they will be collecting monthly contribution and they will be paying as pension in future. So this monthly contribution collected is exempted. Okay. So that is with respect to pension services. Now, so few queries. Fee collected from outpatient is exempted. Yes. Fee collected from outpatient is exempted because there it is healthcare service provided to them. But medicine sold to outpatient is not exempted. Food sold to outpatient is not exempted. Sir, supply of medicine is exempted is only for hospital or it includes small clinics? Only for hospital. For small clinics it is always taxable. Medicine sold by the not small clinics, by medical shops. So clinic or hospital, it is okay, that is exempted. Clinic or hospital or nursing home, medicine sold by them is exempted. But there are some medical shops which will be selling medicines, that will be taxable always. Whereas these clinics, hospitals, etc. who sell medicines to outpatients is taxable, to inpatients only it is exempted. Then, sir, inpatient means people who are admitted in hospital. Does it include people who are consulting a doctor in that hospital? No, they are not called as inpatients, they will be called as outpatients. What about pharmacy which does not belong to hospital management? Always taxable. To whomsoever they sell the medicines, that will be taxable. Sir, post-mortem service is also covered under 7 subsection 2. Yes, that is death related. Then outpatients here mentioned is the person discharged, sir. Consulting, people who go for consulting and people who are discharged, they are called as outpatients. From one hospital to another hospital, transfer of patient for the ambulance service is taxable? No, it is exempt. All ambulance service is exempted. So rehabilitation centers established by government or registered under 12 AA only exempted, or private centers are also exempted. You read there what you will be seeing. Rehabilitation Council of India, and they are providing services anywhere. So they did not give only by a charitable trust. They should be recognized by the Rehabilitation Council of India. So nowhere it is given that they should be a charitable trust. Okay. So these rehabilitation, please see what is given here. Central government, state government or entity registered under 12A is rehabilitation centers, not rehabilitation professionals. Rehabilitation professional is an individual, and where they render services, they render service in medical establishment, education institution, rehabilitation centers established by government or charitable trust. Now they receive money. Those individuals receive money, that money received by those individuals is exempted. That is the meaning of that statement. Then, if patient is admitted in the hospital and if he is in need of blood from a blood bank, then also it is taxable or exempted. That is, in case of any blood that is supplied, exempted. All these are part of healthcare service, exempted. Then, for these insurance services, so having sum assured as 2 lakhs is maximum. I gave it in the book as 2 lakhs, but when I said it as maximum. Clearly I said, where the sum assured does not exceed 2 lakhs. So it is maximum. This is the maximum amount. So if it exceeds 2 lakhs, then that life insurance, micro life insurance will be taxable. The premium collected will be taxable. Does theatrical performance include movie shows in theaters? No. Cinema theaters are not covered. So in this note, cinema theaters are not covered under the exemption. Cinema theaters are not covered under exemptions. Understood or not? So whatever may be the ticket price, it is fully taxable. Irrespective of ticket price, it is always taxable. Irrespective of ticket price, it is always taxable. Then, amount given by government under any scheme for any operation to patient, is it exempted? Operation part of healthcare service, it is exempted. Okay. Then look into services by specified organizations. There are some specified organization. If any service is provided by these specified organization, that is exempted here. Who are those organizations? NPS Trust, National Pension System Trust, SEBI, ESIC, EPFO, IRDA, NCCCD, Foreign Diplomatic Mission located in India, then CMPFO. NPS Trust already we have seen, National Pension System Trust, related to that annuity, okay. Then SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, they will be collecting money from the listed companies and stock exchanges. That money is exempted. Then ESIC, Employees State Insurance Corporation, will be collecting money from the factories for the purpose of providing insurance to the workers working in the factory. That money collected is exempted. EPFO, Employee Provident Fund Organization, will be collecting monthly PF contribution from the employers for providing saving scheme to the employees. That monthly contribution collected by EPFO is exempted. IRDA, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, will be collecting money from the insurance companies, and whatever money that they collect from the insurance companies is exempted. Then NCCCD, National Center for Cold Chain Development, they will be collecting money from the people who want to start a cold chain. So they will be provided a technical assistance by this NCCCD, and whatever money that is received is exempted. Then Foreign Diplomatic Mission, or Foreign Diplomatic Mission means who will be coming? Consulate, UN organizations, then consulate or embassy. UN organization, consulate or embassy will be coming under Foreign Diplomatic Mission located in India, and whatever money that they receive will be exempted. Then CMPFO, Coal Mine Provident Fund, like how we have General Employee Provident Fund, same way for workers working in coal mines, there is a Provident Fund organization, so they will be collecting monthly contribution from the employer, that is exempted. So these are the specified bodies, and if they collect any amount, that is exempted. Any amount, that is exempted. Next. Sir, what about amusement park, sir? See, only this is exempted. Any other thing is taxable. Amusement park, theme park, water park, or any kind of event or any kind of show or anything, this is exempted. So in remaining cases it is taxable. Simple. Okay. So next one, if it crosses 2 lakhs, entire amount GST payable. Sadhvik Gopal, you know anything about insurance here? Sum assured means that is the maximum amount here. So premium will be collected. Sum assured means generally insurance. So you should be knowing this minimum knowledge here. Insurance, sum assured means that is the maximum amount. Means if any person die or the policy mature, that much amount will be paid. That much amount they will not collect at a time. They will be collecting in the form of monthly premiums. So if the amount exceeds 2 lakhs, they will be collecting premiums. Those premiums will be taxable. And anywhere in exemptions, remember today that if the number exceeds, fully it will be taxable. All exemptions, same point, no change in that. Then, sir, in some hospitals, private medical shops are inside the premises of the hospital and they provide medicine to inpatient and outpatient also. Whether such medicine provided by that shops to inpatient is exempted? No. Only when the shop is owned by the hospital, that exemption is available. If that medical shop is not owned by the hospital, by another person, then the exemption is not available. Whether the medicines are sold to inpatients or outpatients. Won't supply of food to staffs be covered under salary package and excluded from supply? When it is covered under salary package, then why the hell they are charging money? If they charge money, means they are selling food to the staff. So otherwise they should be giving it for free. So as they are selling the food to the staff, means it is like, so goods sold to the employees or services supplied to the employee for a consideration which is supply under 71A and chargeable to GST. Then, sir, these conditions under healthcare service will also applicable for ESIC hospitals also without any changes. Yes, for all hospitals the same exemption is applicable. Next, that is ESIC hospital, or that may be even railway hospital or any government hospital, same treatment, no change in that. Now look into charitable and religious services. What is this charitable and religious service? There is an charitable trust, section 12AA. There is a charitable trust registered under section 12AA of Income Tax Act, and they will be providing services by way of charitable, specified charitable activities. What are they? Public health, religion, spirituality, yoga, educational programs to physically or mentally traumatized persons, prisoners and persons over 65 years, and environmental preservation. These are the charitable activities. What are the charitable activities? Public health means healthcare service. Then advancement of any religion. So that there is a charitable trust. That charitable trust should be registered under section 12A of the Income Tax Act, and they should be providing charitable activities. If they provide these charitable activities and they get any amount, that is exempted. So first, public health. There are lot of charitable organizations which will provide healthcare services, exempted. Even otherwise also healthcare service is exempted. Then advancement of religion. That is lot of people are there now who advance religion and spirituality. Babas, Swamijis, etc. All these people are exempted. Even yoga. So advancement of yoga. These people who provide yoga training. So they are also exempted. Then educational program. So first one, public health. The charitable trust is providing public health. Money collected, exempted. Charitable trust is advancing religion, money collected, exempted. Charitable trust is advancing spirituality. They are telling about spirituality, they get money, exempted. And they advance yoga, that is they will be teaching yoga for which they get money, exempted. Educational program to whom? Physically or mentally traumatized persons. physically or mentally traumatized persons or prisoners or persons over 65 years of age. So if any educational program, that is skill development programs, are provided to these people, physically or mentally traumatized persons, prisoners or persons over 65 years of age, that is exempted. That is also charitable activity. Then we have environmental preservation. If that charitable trust is into environmental preservation and if they get any amount, that is exempted. So these are the charitable activities, and if they provide these charitable activities and if they get money, that is exempted. Apart from this, any other activity may be charitable in nature. Any other activity may be charitable in nature, but if they receive any amount towards that, that will be taxable. Okay, so these activities are only the charitable activities. Apart from this, any other activity, if they provide the services, it may be charitable in nature, but the amount collected will be taxable, not exempted. Then second one, services by a old age home run by central government, state government or charitable trust. There is a old age home, and who is running that old age home? Either central government or state government or a charitable trust. And in that old age home, they provide that services of old age home to persons over 60 years of age. Please see, persons aged 60 years or more, so greater than or equals to 60 years, aged 60 years or more, so greater than or equals to 60 years, against consideration up to 25,000 rupees per month per member. Okay, so against consideration 25,000 per month per member means how much they will be charging per month? 25,000 rupees. So that is inclusive of charges for boarding, lodging and maintenance. Then the amount collected by the old age home is exempted. They are not required to pay any GST. What about the other old age homes? They are required to pay GST. Then next, services by a person by way of conduct of religious ceremony. Who will be covered in this? Priest, Purohit. So who will be covered? Priest, Purohit, father, church father, then even this Pandit. These people are covered under services by way of conduct of religious ceremonies. So they will be conducting religious ceremony, marriage functions, etc., for which they will get money, and that is exempted. Then services by special organizations for religious pilgrimage, Kailash, Manasarovar and Hajj. These two are the religious pilgrimages. So there are some specified organizations, some special organizations. They provide service by way of religious pilgrimage. They will be taking the people and they will be bringing back. They will provide all kind of transportation, accommodation. So that pilgrimage for which they collect some money. These people are like tour operators, but they take the people for religious pilgrimage, and whatever money that they receive is exempted. So these are the charitable and religious services which are exempted. Then next area that we have is incubator and incubatee services. So please listen. There is an incubator and an incubatee. We need to understand who is an incubator, who is an incubatee. So if you have watched this Dasavataram movie, so Kamal Hassan's Dasavataram movie, wherein in that they will be developing one biotechnology weapon. That laboratory is known as incubate, and that laboratory will be owned by a person. That person will be known as incubator, and the one who provides service there, hero of that movie, incubatee. Another example, there is a movie called as, English movie called as Planet of Apes. In that Planet of Apes movie also same, they will be testing something on the chimpanzees. So that place where they do the testing etc. is known as incubate, laboratory. And the one who develops that is known as incubatee, hero of that movie. Incubator, one who owns that laboratory. Understood? So incubate is a place where research is carried out. Incubator is the one who owns it. Incubatee is the one who provides services to the incubator. So services provided by incubatee to incubator is exempted up to 50 lakhs. Up to 50 lakhs, provided turnover during the previous year does not exceed 50 lakhs and 3 years not elapsed from the agreement date with that incubator. With that incubator, suppose if the 3 years is over, then whatever amount that is received will be taxable. If the 3 years is not over, then up to 50 lakhs is taxable, and what about it exceeds 50 lakhs, then entirely it will be taxable. That is, whatever it exceeds 50 lakhs is taxable, and next year onwards they will not be getting exemption. Okay. So here alone you have to remember that up to 50 lakhs exempted, after crossing 50 lakhs it will be taxable. Here alone, only in this place. Only in this place you need to remember up to 50 lakhs exempted, and after crossing 50 lakhs it will be taxable. That balance only taxable, because here the exemption is not for service, it is per annum. So that's why here we need to remember, whenever their turnover is up to 50 lakhs it is exempted. After crossing 50 lakhs, on the remaining amount only it will be taxable. But once it crosses 50 lakhs this year, next year they will not get exemption, because the first condition is that turnover during previous year should not have exceeded 50 lakhs, and this exemption is applicable for a period of 3 years from the date of signing contract with that incubator. Suppose if they move to another incubator, then they will get exemption, but usually that will not happen, because once a person is working with an incubator, the development and all will take years, so they will not be jumping to another incubator just like that. Okay. Then now incubator is getting the technology. They will be temporarily transferring it. Now they get money. That money is exempted, provided those incubators are recognized by Government of India. Provided those incubators are recognized by Government of India, then whatever services that they render to any person and get money by temporary transfer of technology, that money received is exempted. That is about incubator and incubatee services. Then we have education services. Have a look into this. Education services. Please see. Next page. Education services. What is exempted? Services provided by an educational institution to whom students, faculty and staff is exempted. Services provided by an educational institution to students, faculty and staff is exempted. And what is the meaning of this educational institution? Educational institution is divided into 3. Category 1, Category 2 and Category 3. Category 1 educational institution up to 12th standard or equivalent. Category 2 educational institution obtaining a qualification recognized by law. So what will come in Category 1 education institution up to 12th standard? So why it is given as equivalent? In some places 11th and 12th is not part of school. It will be part of college, pre-university college or intermediate or junior college, like that it will be called. So therefore this 12th up to 12th standard is Category 1. Category 2, education for obtaining a qualification recognized by law. Who will be coming there? Colleges, universities, ICI, ICSI, ICMA, those people will come into that category. But not private coaching centers. Tuition centers or private coaching centers will not be coming under educational institution. You just write down there, tuition centers and private coaching centers, tuition centers and private coaching centers are not treated as educational institutions. So therefore they are always taxable. they are always taxable. They are always required to pay GST, always taxable, okay. Then services provided by educational institution to whom students, faculty and staff is exempted. Now that is divided into two, category 1 up to 12th standard, category 2 is obtaining a qualification recognized by law, that is college, ICA, ICMA, that will come. Category 3, approved vocational education, that is a course offered by ITI or ITC affiliated to NCVT or SCVT, and modular employable skill course by Ministry of Skill Development, that is only called as approved vocational education. So what is an approved vocational education? Skill based courses here. So those skill based courses should be offered by ITI. ITI refers to Industrial Training Institute, ITC Industrial Training Center, affiliated to NCVT or SCVT, National Council for Vocational Training, State Council for Vocational Training, that is known as approved vocational education course. Then these are skill based courses like mobile repairing, computer programming, animation, etc., like that, skill development courses, or any modular employable skill course recognized by Ministry of Skill Development. So that is known as approved vocational education. Now these three category education institution providing any service to students, faculty and staff is exempted. Now should that be education related service? Need not be. They can provide any service. It can be recreational also, like swimming, dancing, or any kind of recreational. And even if they take the students on a vacation, they collect some money, exempted. They provide food to the students, exempted. They transport the students, exempted. All services provided by the educational institution to its students, faculty and staff is exempted, okay. What about if they provide services to others? Example, generally there is something called as campus recruitment, campus placement services. What these educational institutions will do, they will allow corporates to access their premises and recruit the students who qualified, for which they will be collecting money. Who will be collecting money? Corporates will be collecting money? No, corporates will be paying money to the educational institution. For example, ICI will be conducting campus placement services every year or every attempt, and they will be allowing corporates to enter into the premises and recruit the newly qualified chartered accountants, for which they will be collecting some money. Who will be collecting? ICA will be collecting some money, that is not from students, faculty and staff, that is not services provided to students, faculty and staff, therefore it is taxable. Got it? Then there will be some educational institutions which will be allowing others to use their brand name, for which they will be collecting some royalty, and that royalty collected by the educational institutions is also taxable, because they are not providing services to students, faculty and staff due to that reason. So that is this exemption here, services provided by educational institution. Now what we are discussing is services provided to educational institution. So far what we have seen is service provided by educational institution. Now we are discussing services provided to educational institution by way of transportation of students, faculty and staff to category 1 educational institution is only exempted, but category 2 and category 3 will be taxable. So what is this? We'll try to understand. That is, there is an educational institute, there is a school and there is a college. This discussion already we made here. There is a school, okay, there is a school, and that school provides transportation services to its students. There is a school and that school provides transportation services to its students. There is a school which provides transportation services to students, and that is exempted. Where is it exempted? It is exempted under services provided by education institution to students, faculty and staff. In that category it is exempted. So transportation services. So any service provided by education institution to students, faculty and staff is exempted. Then next, there is one travel agency who provides transportation services to the school. Messrs. ABC Travels. That ABC Travels provides transportation services to school. That ABC Travels provides transportation services to school. Transportation of students, faculty and staff. Even that is exempted. Okay. Even that is exempted. Now, suppose if there is Messrs. XYZ Travels, who provides services to the students directly, the students of that school directly, then this transportation services is not exempted because they are not providing the services to school. So they should provide service to educational institution, then only it is exempted. If they provide service directly to the students, that is not exempted, that will be taxable. And do we have any RCM in this case? No, that is FCM. Taxable FCM. Now, there is another person, Messrs. PQR Travels. Messrs. PQR Travels, who provides transportation services to a college. And that college in turn provides transportation services to students. Now, services provided by college to students, transportation service provided by college to students is exempted. Service provided by educational institution to students, faculty and staff is exempted, correct? So therefore, transportation services provided by college to students is exempted. This is exempted. Now PQR Travels is providing transportation services to college. PQR Travels is providing transportation services to college. Now look into services provided to educational institution chart. In that, transportation service only to category 1 is exempted, but category 2, category 3 is not exempted, it is taxable. So this will be taxable under FCM. Suppose if there is another person, Messrs. DEF Travels, who provides transportation services directly to the students. Whether it is taxable or exempted, always that is taxable. We don't have any exemption in this regard. That will always be taxable under FCM. So this is with respect to the exemption for transportation of students, faculty and staff. Now, there is a person, that is Messrs. Ram Motors gives the vehicle on rent. So now they are giving vehicle on hire to ABC Travels, renting services, and XYZ Travels, renting services, even PQR Travels, renting services, and to DF Travels renting services. What about the renting of bus? Renting of bus to Messrs. ABC Travels. See, they are in turn providing services to school which is exempted, so that renting of bus is exempted. Then, what about the renting of bus to XYZ Travels? Renting of bus to XYZ Travels. So, they are directly providing the service to the students, therefore, it will be taxable. FCM or RCM? It will be FCM. Only when the supplier is other than body corporate and recipient is body corporate, it will come under RCM, okay. So, then here renting of bus. Here renting of bus is also taxable under FCM. Taxable under FCM. Here renting of bus is also taxable under FCM. Renting of bus is taxable under FCM. Now, easily we can remember this. If their outward supply is exempted, their inward supply is also exempted. If their outward supply is taxable, their inward supply is also taxable. That way you can remember. So, renting of bus to these people who in turn provide services to educational institution. If their outward supply is exempted, their inward supply of renting is also exempted. If their outward supply is taxable, their inward supply of renting is also taxable. Done. This is with respect to transportation services, and along with that renting also I linked. Okay. Then next. So, what is that we have seen so far? Services provided by education institution to whom students, faculty and staff is exempted. And what is the meaning of education institution? Category 1 up to 12th standard. Category 2 education as a part of curriculum for obtaining a qualification. And category 3 that will be approved vocational education. This is service provided by education institution. Then we have discussed services provided to educational institution. In that the first one, transportation of students, faculty and staff. This is the discussion. Second, catering services. Same way. Catering services provided to category 1 education institution is only exempted, but category 2 and category 3 institution will be taxable. So, same way like transportation, we need to take catering. Same like transportation, we need to treat catering, and even security and housekeeping, because in these three cases, these three services provided to category 1 only exempted. What are those three services? Transportation services, catering services, security and housekeeping services provided to category 1 institution is only exempted, and other cases it will be taxable. Whereas admission to or conduct of examination. So, admission to the institution. So, people acting as marketing agent and bringing admission to the institution, or conduct of examination like renting of exam halls, paper setting, evaluation, invigilation, all these are conduct of examination. To all category institution is exempted. To all category institutions is exempted. Is it clear? So, this fourth one, admission to or conduct of examination, for all category institutions it is exempted. Then, supply of online periodicals and journals. Supply of online periodicals and journals, only to category 2 institution it is exempted. Category 1 and category 3 will be taxable. So, this matrix you should remember. So, 3 services, transportation, security and housekeeping, catering, to category 1 institution is only exempted. Then number 4, admission to or conduct of examination. So, all 3 category institutions it is exempted. Supply of online educational journals and periodicals, only to category 2 institution it is exempted. So, this is about services provided by institution and services provided to educational institution. So, in the first case, educational institution is the supplier. In the second case, there is some other supplier and educational institution is the recipient. Okay. Now, few queries, let me answer that and then I will proceed into further discussion. Is educational programs, that is, there is one exemption related to FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup, which I have not given there, but I have given it in a different place. I will explain that. Okay, don't worry, I will explain that. I have given it in a different place. Then, is educational program or skill development relating to orphaned or homeless children is taxable? No, yeah, that is also exempted. Maybe that point is missed. Educational program to physically or mentally traumatized persons, prisoners and persons over 65 years. One more point is there. Orphans, educational programs to orphans is also covered there in the list. So, educational programs to physically or mentally traumatized persons, orphans, prisoners and persons over 65 years, that is exempted. So, please add that orphans, that has missed, please add orphans there. Then, professional courses are recognized education. Yes, professional courses are recognized education, but only when the services are provided by the institute it is exempted, but by private coaching centers it will be taxable. Then, sir, when you have written transaction services instead of transportation services, transportation services, okay, fine. So, as if it is some big mistake I have done, that also you are posting as one query here. So, I said as transportation only na. So, fine, transportation services provided by DEF Travels. Then, sir, can college take ITC? College, see, I somehow do not feel like, see, transaction ke, transportation ke. So, is it a big query here? As if I made a big mistake, concept mistake, you are putting that, sir, you wrote transaction instead of transportation. Bah. I am like, no, to take classes, na, the motivation to take classes, to do something also will go when I see this kind of comments. Then, sir, college can take ITC. College cannot take ITC because their outward supply is exempted. College cannot take ITC because their outward supply is exempted. So, when their outward supply is taxable, then college can take proportionate ITC. So, part of majority of the services provided by the college is exempted. There may be few services provided by the college that may be taxable. Now, they cannot enjoy full ITC, they can take only the proportionate ITC. So, then look into the other aspects related to education services. Say this, services provided by an educational institution by way of conduct of entrance examination against consideration in the form of exam fee. What is this? Generally, some educational institutions will be providing, this admissions, or they will be giving seat only after conducting entrance examination. So, without conducting entrance examination, they will not be giving seat. So, for conducting entrance examination, they will collect some fee, and they are not providing services to students now, because only when they give seat, they will become students. Only when they give seat, they will become students. So, now they are not students. Now, whatever money that they collect as exam fee, actually they need to pay GST, but there is an exemption. However, listen, application fee they will collect. Application fee, is that application fee taxable or exempted? Application fee is taxable, because we don't have the exemption for application fee. We have the exemption only for entrance exam fee. So, only for exam fee. However, application fee is taxable. However, application fee, if any, collected is taxable. You know why? See, first of all, when they give application, we don't know whether they are their student or not. So only to students, faculty and staff it is exempted. Application fee when you collect, they are not at your student. So now this fee that you are collecting for giving application will be taxable. Suppose if you collect fee for conducting entrance examination, then the entrance exam fee is exempted. Then next, amount paid to training providers under Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramina Kausalya Yojana for providing training in relation to vocational education courses certified by National Council for Vocational Training is exempted. What is this? That is, there are some volunteers who will be going to various rural places, and there in those rural places to unemployed people they will be teaching lot of skills. So using these skills they will become self-employed, those people in the rural areas. So for which government will pay these people, those who go to the rural area and provide. So there are some NGOs or there are some volunteers who will be going to rural area and they will be providing training in some skills, and these people after learning skills they will become self-employed. Lot of skills like paper making, carry cover making or paper cup making, candle making, incense sticks making, leather products making, like that lot of skills will be taught to them. So now these people will become self-employed and they can start earning money. So these NGOs and volunteers who do this will be registered under government scheme called as Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramina Kausalya Yojana. Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramina Kausalya Yojana, and that money received by these volunteers or these NGOs is exempted. Okay. So amount paid to training providers under Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramina Kausalya Yojana for providing training in relation to vocational education courses certified by NCVT. So mainly it is in rural areas here. Okay. Then services provided with respect to training program for which entire expenditure is borne by central government or state government or union territory. So this will be services provided with respect to training program for which entire expenditure is borne by central government, state government, union territory. What does it mean? We are providing training to students. So this exemption is applicable even for coaching centers. So this exemption is mainly for coaching centers. So this is for other than educational institutions. For other than educational institutions. Educational institutions, that is coaching centers. That is coaching centers. Coaching centers. Listen, there are some coaching centers like NEET coaching centers which are required to pay GST on the fees that they are collecting. Now under government scheme, under government project, they will be providing NEET coaching to children in the government schools or below poverty line students or minorities, etc., for which the fee will not be collected from the student, the fee will be paid by the government. That amount collected from the government is exempted. Okay, that is this. Then under skill development initiative scheme, amount paid to assessment bodies is exempted. What is this? So there is something called as skill development initiative. Skill development initiative means wherein people from the industry will be asked to assess the curriculum. So whatever is the curriculum that people like these education institutions are imparting, that curriculum will be reviewed by people from the industry. For reviewing that curriculum, they will be paid some money by the government. So that money received by these people are exempted. That is the skill development initiative. Under the skill development initiative, amount paid to assessment bodies, what job they will do? They will assess the curriculum. That money received by them is exempted. Then any course offered by the following. So these three people offer skill development courses and that courses offered by them is exempted. Who are they? National Skill Development Corporation, which is set up by Government of India, and below them there will be Sector Skill Council, and below them there will be assessment agent or training partner. If these four people provide any skill development course, that is exempted. So these are the exemptions related to education services that we have. Okay, then few queries related to that. Sir, exam registration fee will also be exempted, right? Who said it is taxable? Which idiot said it is taxable? Did I say that it is taxable? What I said, exam fee is exempted. Even entrance exam fee is exempted. But application fee for giving admission, that will only be taxable. Okay. Now, first of all, once you become a student, whatever money that is collected by the educational institution is exempted. Before you become student of that educational institution, you will be, like from you they will be collecting some entrance exam fee or application fee, that should be taxed. But in that exam fee is exempted, so application fee. Once you become student, then you pay exam fee or then you pay any fee, that is exempted. For example, ICI you take. ICI will be selling prospectus. On that prospectus sale, they need to pay GST, logically, because the person who purchased the prospectus may not become a student also. So once they register and become student, that registration fee is exempted. Thereafter, every 6 months they pay exam fees, that is also exempted. And if they attend any coaching with ICI, that is also exempted. But before that, if there is anything in that entrance exam fee, if they collect, that is exempted. If it is application fee, that is taxable. That's what I said. Okay. Then that is with respect to it. Now there is one question. Have a look into this question. That is, determine taxable value of supply under GST law with respect to each of the following independent services provided by registered persons. Fee charged from office staff for in-house personality development course conducted by MV College. College is a category 2 institution. Category 2. They provide services to staff. It is exempted. They provide service to students, faculty and staff is exempted. So therefore, first point is exempted. Then, bus fees collected from students by MV College. So college, category 2 institution, they collect money from the students, bus fees. Services provided to students, exempted. So second point is also exempted. Third, housekeeping service provided by Messrs. Clean Well to Himavarsha Montessori School. So services provided to educational institution. Service provided to educational institution. What service? Housekeeping services. Is that educational institution category 1? Yes. Play school, category 1. Therefore, this service is exempted. If that is not Himavarsha Montessori School, if that is a college, then this service will become taxable. Then next, Infolink supplied Tracing Alphabets, an online educational journal, to students of UKG class of Sydney Montessori School. Now, this is supply of online periodicals and journals to educational institution. When it is exempt, only to category 2 it is exempt. But this Montessori school is not category 2, category 1, therefore it will be taxable. So therefore this fourth one will become taxable here. Okay. So hence only one is taxable, that is 2000. Hence taxable value in this case will be only 2000. I have given the explanation related to that. Now, sir, whenever you are writing exemption, ensure that you are giving a reference called as per notification 12/2017. All exemptions are in notification 12/2017 amended from time to time, and all RCM services are in notification 13/2017 amended from time to time. So all exemptions all exemptions, all exempted services, what is the reference that you will give? Notification 12/2017. Notification 12/2017. Then all RCM services, what is the notification you need to refer? Notification number 13/2017. Okay. Now, whenever you write exemption, you need to know under which section. So, there is section 11. Section 11 read with notification 12/2017, the said service is exempted. Like that you should write. Same way, when you are writing RCM service, what you should write? As per section 9 subsection 3 read with notification 13/2017, the said service is covered under RCM. Like that you should present. Okay. Next. Sir, in some colleges they will collect management fee or donations before giving admission to students. Is that taxable? Of course, taxable. But first of all, that money collected is from students. Which students? We need to know. College. So, any service provided to students, faculty and staff is exempted. So, which college it is? Normal college, covered under education institution, then amount collected will be exempted. So, management fee or late fee, you are coming late, fines, penalties by whatever name called, if that college collects. But the college should be in the education institution. If that college is in the list of education institution, then it is exempted. No need to pay GST. Sir, whether students bus pass, which is charged minimum and provided by state government, which we can be allowed to use any state local transportation, is taxable. That is not a service provided by education institution. That is a service provided by government. Transportation service, that's a different discussion. But whatever question that you have asked is not connected to education institution. That is not a service provided by education institution. Okay. That is a service provided by transportation service provider, that we will see later under transportation services. So, this is about education services. Then government services already we have completed. Even this renting services we have completed. Now, there is one chart in page number 105. This chart is not for exam. This chart is not for exam because I told you, in case of renting of motor vehicles, there are two rates, there are multiple rates, and when it will be coming under RCM, it will be coming under RCM if the supplier is other than body corporate and if the recipient is body corporate and the rate is 5%. So, now you may get it out. Is there a rate other than 5%? So, for that reason only I just gave this, but this is not for exam, no need to read, leave it. So, in question if you see 5%, then only you will apply that RCM. Okay. Then sports services already we completed. Now, look into services of unincorporated association to its members. Concentrate. There is an unincorporated association or body which is providing services to its members. Concentrate. There is an unincorporated association which is providing services to its members. Now, they will be collecting some money from its members, that is exempted if that association is a trade union. If that association is a trade union means association of traders. Trade union is association of traders. Trade union is an association of traders. Okay. Trade union is association of traders, and that trade union, if they collect any amount, that is exempted. Understood? There is a trade union, that is association of traders. If they collect money from its members towards membership fee or any subscription fee, etc., that is exempted. Suppose if it is for providing exempted services, again remember what is the service we are discussing? Supplier is an unincorporated association or body to whom they are providing service, to their own members, and it will be exempted if the association is a trade union. Okay. Second, if that service itself is exempted, even if association renders a service to its members, that is also exempted. Then, as a resident welfare association, what is that? There will be association of flat owners. Association of flat owners. Which flat? Residential flat, not commercial flat. For commercial flat, it will be taxable. This exemption is only for residential flat. There is association of flat owners. That association of flat owners will be collecting money from the flat owners for incurring lot of common expenses like gardening, lift maintenance, security, then power supply, sewage cleaning, lot of services that association will take care, and they will be recovering money from their members in the form of maintenance charges. That maintenance charges collected by them is exempted. Okay, provided the maintenance charges per month, not per annum, per month, per member means per flat owner, per member means per flat it is less than or equals to 7,500. What will happen if it goes beyond 7,500? It will be fully taxable. Got it? What if it is a commercial flats, commercial complex? Always taxable. No limit of 7,500. Now each member, sir, few flats they will collect 5,000, exempted. Few flats they will collect 8,000. In those cases it is taxable, like that. Got it? And that too they need to cross the threshold limit. In all these cases, wherever I am discussing as taxable, the service is taxable. If the person is registered, they will pay GST. If the person is not registered, they will not pay GST. Then, as a industrial or agricultural labor association, so that association is a industrial association or agricultural labor association. That association is a industrial association or agricultural labor association. If they collect any money from its members, it is exempted. Like how we have a trade union, the same way we have industrial labor union, that is association of call drivers. Okay, so example association of call drivers, like Ola, Uber drivers will have an association. Then employee union or labor unions, these are examples, and if they collect any amount, that is exempted from their members. In all these cases, money is collected by them, by the association from its members. Then suppose if it is any other association or body, and if they collect 1,000 rupees per annum per member, it is exempted. If it crosses 1,000 rupees, it will be taxable. So in case of resident welfare association, it is 7,500 per month, whereas any other association or body 1,000 rupees per annum. Don't forget. So here it is per month, here it is per annum. Okay, 1,000 rupees per member per annum. So this, what if the amount charged by resident welfare association exceeds 7,500 per month? Then entire amount is chargeable to GST, provided their aggregate turnover exceeds the threshold limit, like that. Okay. Suppose if their aggregate turnover does not exceed threshold limit, the amount may be less than or equals to 7,500 or more than 7,500, they are not required to pay GST. That table only I have given below. Then this OIDR services already we discussed. Then construction services, have a look into this. Construction services, what is that? Construction of an individual house is exempted here. Construction of an individual house, irrespective of the floor area or cost, See again, this exemption is not applicable to works contract. This exemption is only to construction. This exemption is only to construction, not applicable to works contract. Is it clear? This exemption is only to the construction sector, not applicable for works contract services. Construction of an individual house, irrespective of the floor area or cost, not as a part of complex, is exempted. An individual house means a house occupied only by one family is known as individual house. Then same way, construction, repair, alteration. See, the first exemption is only construction, not repairs. But the second exemption is construction, repair, alteration, renovation, etc. of the following projects is exempted. What are they? Housing for All Mission or Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Housing for All Mission or Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana are two projects. Under those two projects, if we provide any construction service including repair services, it is exempted. Then third exemption already we have discussed. And advocate services we have completed. Then we have transportation services. So this transportation services, we completed the GTA services part, and we need to discuss this transportation services, which I am reserving for tomorrow's discussion. So tomorrow I will discuss, in the next class I will discuss transportation services. And now let's complete the exemptions under IGST and few questions related to this. Okay, few questions related to this. So have a look into exemptions under IGST Act. So what I am skipping is only transportation services. Those transportation services tomorrow we will discuss. Okay, that is in the next class we will discuss. And now I am completing these exemptions under IGST and miscellaneous exempted services. Okay, so please concentrate. Take page number 111. Take page number 111. And also tomorrow we have session from 6:30 to 9:30, because tomorrow I have one another class. So due to that reason, so tomorrow we can have session from 7 to 9:30, sorry, not 6:30 to 9:30, 7 to 9:30. Tomorrow's session is from 7 to 9:30. Okay, so as usual it will start at 7. I will finish it by 9:30. So thereafter session is only not there, 1.5 hours, that we will see later also. Okay, then look into this exemptions under IGST Act. What is that? Both supplier of service and recipient of service located outside India. What is this? Sir, supplier of service and recipient of service is located outside India. Then none of the service is taxable, but we have one exception to that. What is that? Transportation of goods by vessel from where to where? From outside India to India, even though both supplier of service and recipient of service is located outside India, but it will be taxable. Please see. So however, this exemption is not applicable in case of transportation of goods by vessel from outside India to India. This is one. Then services provided by a tour operator. There is a tour operator in India. They are providing tour operator services to a foreign tourist. Please read. They are providing tour operator services to a foreign tourist. And where the tour is conducted fully outside India, then whatever money the tour operator in India collects is exempted. Then next, services provided by an intermediary when location of both supplier of goods and recipient of goods is outside India. What is this? There is a supplier of goods located outside India, say in Germany, and recipient of goods is also located outside India, say in Australia. Now you are an intermediary, you are an agent located in India. Now you receive commission. That commission is exempted. Okay. So these are the three exemptions under IGST Act. Next, this third one is a exemption here, latest exemption. Then look into miscellaneous exempted services. Services by way of transfer of a going concern as a whole or independent part thereof. So I have a business and that business as such I am selling as a whole or independent part thereof, like slump sale in income tax. So whatever money that is being collected is exempted. Service by way of transfer of a going concern as a whole or independent part thereof, money collected is exempted. Then supply of services associated with transit cargo to Nepal and Bhutan. Actually, Nepal and Bhutan are landlocked countries. So surrounding Nepal and Bhutan, we don't have any port. If they want to import goods by waterways, first the goods will be unloaded. There is a MOU between India and Nepal and Bhutan where goods will be first unloaded in India in a port. From there, goods will be taken to Nepal and Bhutan. Now, any service in relation to this cargo, transit cargo, this is known as transit cargo to Nepal and Bhutan, any service provided like loading, unloading, transportation, that is exempted. Okay. Then next, services by way of collecting or providing news by independent journalists, Press Trust of India or United News of India. So there are some independent journalists. These independent journalists will not be working for any one particular newspaper or media channel. They will be independent. They will receive money whenever they sell the news to the newspapers and media, and whatever money that they receive is exempted. That is about this exemption. Then number 4, services of public libraries. So in libraries, but now it is not applicable because now where we are going for library and all. So public libraries, we go and take a book on rent, we pay rental charges. That rental charges collected by the libraries is exempted. That is that point number 4. Then point number 5, services by an organizer to any person in respect of business exhibition held outside India. That is, there is an organizer of an exhibition who is in India. Recipient is also India, but where the exhibition is held outside India, it will indirectly promote export. Due to that reason, they have given this exemption. Then services by public conveniences such as provision of facilities of bathroom, washroom, lavatories, urinal or toilet. So public conveniences like that's what are public toilets are there na, public toilets, they will collect 1 rupee, 2 rupees, etc. That is exempted. Then toll charges, when we access some highways, we will pay toll charges for our car, vehicle. The toll charges collected is exempted. Then services by a performance artist. Who is a performance artist? One who performs before the audience is known as performance artist. Who is a performance artist? One who performs before audience. One who performs before audience. One who performs before audience is known as a performance artist. Services by a performance artist in folk or classical art forms of music or dance or theatre. So in what art form? Either classical or folk. That too in music, dance or theatre, whatever money that they receive. Say Bharatanatyam dancer receives some money, exempted. But how much that money? That should not go beyond 1,50,000. So if it goes beyond 1,50,000, fully it will be taxable. And if that performance artist is acting as a brand ambassador, this exemption is not applicable. They need to pay GST even if the amount does not exceed 1,50,000. And say there is a performance artist, one Bharatanatyam dancer, and she is giving 2 performances in a function and she got 1 lakh each, 2 lakhs. Now in that case, that entire 2 lakhs will be exempted because we need to see per performance. Per performance it does not exceed 1,50,000, therefore it is exempted. Another case, there are 4 people performing. Now money is received. Now each and everyone how much they are getting we should check, and then only we can see this exemption. See, this is only for classical or folk, but for this western and all we don't have the exemption. So these are not exempted. That is that point number 8. Then point number 9, services by way of training or coaching in recreational activities. So training or coaching in recreational activities, like dance schools, etc. But should the dance schools be classical? No, anything, western or classical. So related to arts means dancing, singing, drawing, all these will come under arts, including kung fu, karate, martial arts, everything, all arts. Culture means they will be imparting Vedas, Upanishads, Sanskrit, languages, that will come under culture. Or sports, they will be imparting sports, they will be teaching sports, training, sports academies. But that sports academy should be registered as a trust. That sports academy should be registered as a charitable trust. Then only fee collected for that sports training is exempted. Okay. Then next, this 10th point already we discussed, guarantee commission. Guarantee commission collected by government from public sector undertakings, already we discussed this point. So therefore it is already covered. Then look into 11th one, services by way of licensing, registration and analysis or testing of food sample supplied by Food Safety and Standards Authority of India to food business operators. There are some food business operators who will be supplying food. Nowadays lot of food business operators are there who are supplying food through Swiggy, Zomato, Uber Eats, etc. But these people are mandatorily required to get a license, FSSAI license. To get that FSSAI license, they need to pay some money to that authority which gives that FSSAI license. That money collected by the authority is exempted. They are not government authority, they are government board or body, government body. So money collected by them is exempted. Then FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup. FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup, we have 2 exemptions. That is entry ticket to this FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup 2020 event is exempted. Entry ticket is exempted irrespective of the ticket price, and any service provided to FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup or any service provided by FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup, by them or to them, any service provided by them or any service provided to them is exempted. That is the 12th point. Services provided by and or to, both. FIFA is providing service or FIFA is receiving services, exempted. And any entry tickets to that Women's World Cup 2020, that entry ticket is exempted. So these are the various exemptions. And apart from transportation, and there is one more exemption related to upfront lease amount for giving industrial plots on lease. So these 2 exemptions and these special points, apart from that, everything else we have completed. Okay. Now let's see few questions as to how it will be asked in exam. Okay. Have a look into question number 1. So before that, let me respond to few queries. Only one query. Sir, is point number 1 in exemption under IGST Act and exception to 9(3) are same? Yes, same. Exception to 9(3) is same. Sir, in question of educational institution discussed part 2, bus fee collected from students of MV college would be taxable. No, it is exempted. That is, college is collecting money from the students, it is always exempted. But there is one person who provides services to the college is taxable. In that question, if you read carefully, you will know that bus fees is collected by the college from the students, that is exempted. But if there is some other person who provides transportation service to the college and collects money, then it will be taxable. Now, say this, question number 1, decide with reason whether the following independent services are exempt under CGST Act. Gokul's Residents Welfare Association received 9,000 per month as contribution from each member for sourcing of goods and services from third person for common use of its members. How much? 9,000 rupees. 9,000 rupees. There is a Resident Welfare Association which collected 9,000 rupees as monthly charges. That is taxable, fully taxable, because it exceeds 7,500. So entire amount is taxable. Is it clear? Then next, services. Mr. Vikalp, a performing artist, has received 1,58,000 from performance of classical dance, 1,58,000. As the amount exceeds 1,50,000, so it will be taxable, correct? So it will be taxable. Then next, and 90,000 from acting in TV serial, fully taxable. We don't have any exemption, because TV serial means they are not performing before the audience, they are performing before the camera. So both are taxable. We don't have exemption for that first point, because the amount does not exceed 1,50,000. The amount exceeds 1,50,000 due to that reason. Okay. So you have to write the explanation accordingly. I gave the explanation there as to how it should be presented in the exam. Okay. Then look into the next question. Question number 2. Examine whether GST is exempted on the following independent supply of services. Teja and Company, a tour operator, provides services to a foreign tourist for tour conducted in Jammu and Kashmir and receives a sum of 3 lakhs. So tour operator in relation to a foreign tour. In relation to a foreign tour is only exempted. But what is a tour here? Tour in India. So that is not exempted. So the tour operator services should be to a foreign tourist in relation to the tour fully outside India, but the tour here is in India, therefore it is not exempted. It will be taxable. Then Miss Purva acts as a team manager for Indian Sports League, a recognized sports body for tennis tournament organized by multi-brand retail company, and received a remuneration of 2 lakhs. Now hold on. They are not providing services to recognized sports body. Who organized the event? One multi-brand retail company. She is a team manager of that sports body, but she renders services to multi-brand retail company. So therefore, money collected by her is taxable. This is not to a recognized sports body. Please see who is organizing the event. The organizing the event is not recognized sports body by multi-brand retail company. So the amount collected is taxable. Okay, not a recognized sports body. Then canteen services. Canteen services by school to students on which fee is charged. Is it exempted? Yes, it is exempted. If the school is supplying food, it is exempted. If the school is supplying, if they allow some other person to sell the food in the school, that will be taxable. Then, sir, if the performer is taking payment for a number of concerts, lump sum say 5 lakhs, how do we treat it? Divide it over each performance. Divide it over each performance. How many numbers it is? Say 10. 5 lakhs divided by 10, say 3 divided by 3, like that you have to divide, and per performance we need to take. Then question number 3, decide with reason whether the following independent services are exempt under CGST Act. Messrs. Fast Trans, a goods transport agency, already we completed GTS services, transported relief materials meant for Kerala floods being a natural disaster by road from Delhi to Ernakulam for a limited company. Now, GTA transporting specified goods is exempted. What are those specified goods? Agricultural produce, food grains, organic manure, relief materials for natural or man-made disasters. So, therefore, it is exempted. Then second, Kayan Enterprises, an event organizer, provided services to Breathing Wall Limited by way of organizing business exhibition at Pragati Maidan in New Delhi. So, where the business exhibition should be held outside India, then only it is exempted. But the business exhibition is held in India, so no exemption, it will be taxable. It will be taxable. There is no exemption in this case. Okay. So, like this, we have the questions in exam here. Okay. Now, another doubt. Exam fee collected, you said that excluded, but ICAI exam payment for 2 groups, they are actually collecting GST. Is it so? I don't think so. CA Institute is not collecting any GST on exam fees. They are not collecting any GST on exam fees. Whatever exam fee that you pay, there is no GST. But you pay some processing fee. For payment gateway, you pay some processing fee. On that processing fee, there is GST. But on exam fees, there is no GST. Please check. Whenever you pay exam fees, you check whatever GST that you pay is 18% on the exam fee. Impossible. If the exam fee is say 2,500 into 18%, 450, are you paying 450 rupees as GST? No. You are paying GST only on the processing fee, not on the exam fee. On exam fee, there is no GST. If they are collecting, tell me, we will file a case against ICAI. So, not possible. They are not collecting. Even I also checked, they are not collecting GST on exam fee. They will collect GST only on the processing fee. Okay. So, with this we will stop for today, and whatever is the balance portion that we will complete tomorrow. Tomorrow our class is up to 9:30 and we will be completing the exemptions related to transportation, other points and these illustrations. These illustrations we will be discussing. Lot of questions are there on exemptions. All these questions we will be discussing. Okay. And after this Sunday we don't have class. So these 2 topics are important. You go through that, and from Monday onwards I will continue with other topics, and I will be extending the class because I am not able to complete the portion on time what I have decided. 40 hours only, but because you are asking doubts, even I wanted to go little slow because you are not able to understand many things as if you are attending for the first time you are attending. So I may extend it by 2 more days also. I will extend it by 2 more days until the time our portion is completed. Don't worry. Okay. I will not just like that wrap it up. I will complete in detail. Don't worry. Okay.